first minute or so here, I'm going to go ahead and do a couple audio tests. So bear with me. This is a whole new streaming setup for me. I'm used to doing it all on the PC for games, not really on a camera. So give me one sec here. Let me verify everything is working. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Let's see. Oh, I think we're here. We are. All right, cool. Audio test passed. That was easy. All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to the stream. This is the follow-up to the GameCube Mini V2 video. I had told a couple folks in the comments that I was going to be doing a live stream going deeper into how it's built and what's inside of it and how I put everything together. So this is going to be that video. And then I also had two other stock GameCubes that I was going to mod with a Picoboot mod chip today. And I figured, you know what the hell, I'm already doing a stream, so I'll just do that on camera as well, might as well. But anyway, we're going to be doing the deep dive into the V2 first, and then if it doesn't take an enormous amount of time, then we'll do the Picoboot installs after. And I have the chat next to me. It is on my laptop, and it is not in a very ergonomic position, so excuse me if it there's kind of a long pause between moments I get to take a look at the chat here. There's a little bit of echo. Well, not much I can do about that one, unfortunately. Oh, I was in the background for you, Aurora. I'm so sorry. Yeah, what's up now? How's it going? How's it going? Scare the crap out of you. Anyway, also, you can see way more of my desk than I thought you'd be able to see, which sucks, because I had got it all cropped into place. I was like, okay, it's going to be able to see right here. It's going to kind of border like right there, and I got it all in frame. And then when I opened the YouTube live stream app, because I'm doing it from my phone, it totally reframed everything for me. So you can see my entire absolutely messy desk with some future projects going on, like the Wii motherboard over here. 1 FPS stream. That is correct, because the way my place is laid out, computer is all the way across the house. So gonna have to do it from my phone, unfortunately. So sorry about the lag, guys. I mean, it's not like this needs to be high frame rate anyway, so it is what it is. The setup will get better, I'm sure, as things go on. Anyway. Very eclectic background. That's correct. I wanted to show this off real quick. I found this thing. This is actually super cool. It's just a little heatsink fan combo made of copper. It's got all the fins on the side there. Just completely smooth bottom. I just thought that was super awesome. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to try and use that for a future project. Makes me feel at home. My desk looks the same. Yeah, understandable. Anyway, let's get into this. So, it opens up with just a few Phillips screws. Actually, I don't got room to do it that way, so we'll just orient it this way. So the top, actually, the way I designed the top is really cool, because one of the goals with this one, how's a V3 sound with water cooling? Jesus! Perhaps, if I can get a tiny enough water cooler. Anyway, one of the goals with the V2 was to make it so there was no screws visible on the top. And that was something that always bothered me about the V1. Hold on, I got the shell over here somewhere. Okay, so here's a V1 top. I got a couple of these are lying around. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screw holes on this thing, and it's just super ugly. And actually, the whole design is ugly, to be completely honest with you. At least I think so. But, yeah, that just kind of sucked. So I was like, alright, nope, no more screw holes. Time for mods. You could, complete chop the ports, just Bluetooth. Yeah, I've been thinking of doing something like that. The Pico mod, but you suck at soldering. Yeah, well, it's tough. The Pico mod actually includes quite a bit of, stuff that you might not realize. It's actually not just soldering. You gotta, if you tear the thermal pads when you take the cooler off, you got to do the thermal pads and all that, and it can be like, it can get out of hand really fast is what I'm trying to say. But one tip for anyone that's going to be doing the Picoboot mod, if you've got a hot air station or a hot air gun, heat up the heatsink on the motherboard before you try and take it off, because one of the solder points is under the heatsink. If you do that, the chances of the thermal pads tearing goes way down. Because when they're cold, they're more brittle and they like to tear. So heat it up first. And I'll be showing that off later, because I'm going to be doing 2 Pico Boot installs today. Anyway, so... oh my god, I'm getting so off track. Okay, so there's one screw on the side, then another screw on the back here. And the reason, well, what I was saying earlier about not having any screws on the top, it's like, well, how are you going to attach it? And I've got the 2 screws on the bottom here, but what about on the front? So the front is held on by this little chamfered part on the lid. And I'll show you what I mean here. Get that open. Not a lot of place to dig your fingernails into here. Take that off. And then the fan actually disconnects with a wire, so you can just kind of pull it and it comes out. Take the fan off here. But I don't know if it's even going to show up on camera. Oh, maybe it will. So we're looking right here. So you can see that's at the tiniest of an angle. A tiny, tiny, tiny 45-degree angle. And there's a matching angle right along the front side right here. And so this just kind of slots right into there. And then it just kind of, it's like a one-way, just locks it into place. You can't lift it up from the front. You have to lift it from the back. So that was a cool way to get away with only needing 2 screws, because there was not a lot of room left to put more screw holes. I could maybe put one right along there, but I don't know. I thought that actually was a super elegant way to do it. So yeah, I'm actually really proud of that part. Anyway, I'm going to take a look at chat here. What are you guys up to? Let's see. Hola, bro. What's going on, Ivan? How does it feel to go up 6K subs in 6 days? Holy crap, man. Yeah, you tell me. It's, oh my god. It's, yeah, it just kind of hit like a ton of bricks. I mean, the first video, even the first 3,000 subs to me was just mind-blowing. I was like, oh my god. I've never had any kind of remote fame or internet fame. And I know it's a stretch to call it fame, because, you know, I'm doing GameCube crap on YouTube. But I don't know, in my own little world it's fame. But no, it's super cool. The biggest thing for me is that there's people that I can just like engage with about stuff like this, because you can't just walk up to anybody on the street and be like, hey, what do you know about miniature GameCube? You know, you can't do that. I mean, you can do that all you want, but varying results, I would imagine. So it's just cool to have a community of people that are interested in this stuff, you know? So yeah, I super appreciate everyone that's subbing and all that. Have I seen the mini PS5? Oh my god, dude. DIY Perks is oh man, what's that? There's a meme. I don't know the context of this meme here, but there's like a super short dude who's like staring up at this lady in like a blue dress or something with a microphone. I'm sure you guys know what it is, but like DIY Perks is the lady in the dress and I'm the little dude. I absolutely love his channel. He's been a huge inspiration for me. I would love to do the crazy stuff he does, but man, he's making like water channels and stuff on his own. Like, I mean, I wish I could do stuff like that. I just don't have the tools and the space and all that. I got this work desk you can see right here. That is it. There's nowhere else I can work on this stuff. So I'd love to do something like that someday. I just got to get a better setup, you know? But yeah, his stuff is amazing. That PS5 video is unbelievable. Been seeing a lot of people do new GameCube mods. Yeah, the GameCube's popping off. I think it's kind of reached that nostalgia point that the N64 was having a few years ago, where everyone's just super fond of it all the time now. Yeah, I love it. I love the GameCube. I love it seeing it come back into the limelight here. Oh, get a sponsorship from JLPCB and make them print custom heatsinks. Oh, man. Oh, custom heatsinks out of metal. And here I was thinking the most reasonable thing to do would just be machining them. Yeah, getting heatsinks printed out of metal, that would be super sick. I could just design my own heatsinks. Man, you got the gears in my head turning now. Damn, that would be a hell of a sponsorship. Oh, I gotta remember how much I probably shouldn't be swearing on on YouTube. I think streams are a little different. But, you know, don't want to catch that, the YouTube nanny. Yeah, the Nintendo mod scene, man, it's great. I used to do GameCube controller mods as well. I made some with like some RGB LEDs in them, with the transparent backs that you could get on some of the Japanese-only controllers. I used to do controller stuff like that all the time. And I would love to 3D print a controller housing. That's been something I've always wanted to do. But the problem is, I mean, I know you can sand and fill and polish and all that, but 3D printed stuff generally is not all that ergonomic just because of the material and just because of like, I mean, this is a bad example because this is like a crappily printed part. But even like nicely printed stuff is really not all that smooth. And especially when you've got really long, like sweeping contours on certain axes of a 3D print, they can just be really, really scummy to hold. It just doesn't feel great. And super like organic curved shapes like that just don't come out really well on a 3D printer. But it's not that it couldn't be done. On a resin printer, maybe, at like a really, really tiny layer height, I could see doing something like that. Water cooled next. Oh my god, if only. I just barely got into water cooling in my PC, man. I gotta wait a little bit before I do a custom 100% DIY on a GameCube. Don't have the tools yet, that's right. I think the handheld mod from a GameCube started it all back up. Oh, yeah, no, dude, GameCube portables used to be huge back in the day. And all of you guys that are tuned in right now, I'll let you know a little secret. I actually already built a GameCube portable years ago in like 2015 or 2016, way back then. You're never going to find it because it's not linked to any name I use right now, not linked to Bringus Studios or nothing, but I'm totally going to show it off on a video eventually, a good old throwback video, because I filmed the whole video for it and everything. I was like, here's my GameCube portable, and you know, it's got this and this, and the Switch right here, and it was years ago. I was literally like 15, 16 years old. I actually can't even fathom that I did it back then. But I'm going to show that off at some point too, because I think that'll be a cool little throwback. Swearing is okay, the sudden growls are a bit loud. Oh, yeah, I get a little enthusiastic. Sorry, guys. My bad. Gaming, says Austin. Gaming, says Joker Rat. Gaming, says Bringus Studios. What about resin printing for a controller? Yeah, resin printing would be great. Handheld N64s, that's true. Yeah, those are cool too. I've never really delved into N64 modding, but be interested. Do you have an old channel with this stuff and all the custom controllers? I have. Oh, you know what? You guys aren't going to be able to see what I'm looking at here, but I'm looking at my my other channel. It's just like an old channel when I was a kid. I used to post crap to. It's nothing really. Let me see. I know I didn't take a video of the controller. I just had made like a Reddit post about it or something. I don't even remember. It was years ago. You know, I'm not really going to be able to check right now without signing out of YouTube. But I don't remember if the GameCube portable video is still live. I might have unlisted it. I don't know. I'll figure it out at some point. What are your thoughts on the Wii U? Thinking about modding mine to play GameCube games. I modded my Wii U a couple years ago, and a modded Wii U is cool because in theory it can play everything Wii U and below. You know, it can do Wii U, it can do Wii, GameCube, N64, SNES, NES, all that. It can emulate all that stuff when it's modded. But the fact that you need the gamepad connected and like the general user interface and the way that the mods like kind of interface with everything, I don't know. You kind of just have to do it. I'm trying to dissuade you from doing it, but also telling you, oh, you just have to do it. I don't know. It's okay. It's really good in theory. But I don't know. The Wii is so much simpler. If you're coming from a standpoint of the Wii being your baseline for a modded console, the Wii U gets a little more complex. It's just kind of weird. I don't know. That was also a couple years ago, so maybe they've made a lot of progress. In my opinion, a modded Switch is the way to go. But you can't play Wii and GameCube games very well. There's ways, but it's not good. So I don't know. I'd say it's worth doing, at least for a weekend project. Why not arrange the Pico in a way you can access the micro USB without opening? I thought about doing that, but if it ever needs to be updated, you got to pull the 3-volt wire out anyway. So yeah, it's kind of like you're screwed either way. And originally the idea was that you could plug a USB in, micro USB. It's actually right under here. You guys probably can't see it, but the Pico's right there. And you could plug in the micro USB and update it. But then the creator, WebHDX, he had said later on that you got to pull the 3v3 line as well when you're updating. So it kind of makes it pointless anyway. If you got to desolder a wire, then you got to open the whole thing up anyway. So whatever. Um, Ideally, whoever would be doing a Pico Boot mod in the future would be integrating a little switch where you could just disconnect the 3v3 line and then update. But, I ain't too worried about it. Anyway, let's get to disassembling this a little more. I'm doing a lot of talking here. So, the power board. I wish I could get a better... Can I zoom? Oh, I can zoom. Look at that. Okay, you guys might lose a little bit of fidelity here, but you'll gain a little bit of zoominess. So here's the power board, and it's just held in by 2 screws. Try and not get my hands completely covering the shot. Just 2 screws. Put these over here. Doesn't need any more than that. And that's what these this big gray ribbon cable is for as well, is all the voltages. There's like 1.9 volts, I think, some ground lines, 12 volts, 5 volts, 3.3 volts, and that's just what all these are. And that's one reason I really didn't want to make a power brick for this, where I could just put it externally, is because whatever plug this interfaces to the motherboard with is going to have to be 6 or 7 or so pins, however many wires this is. You're going to have to get a connector that big. Not necessarily that big, because you could repurpose something like a, I don't know, maybe, I'm trying to think of a small connector. I don't know, you could probably run like a mini display port. That's got all kinds of pins. I don't know, I just don't like repurposing ports that serve another purpose anyway. So, I don't know. I just didn't think it was necessary, and I found a good way to mount it anyway. It doesn't really add any height, maybe like 1 or 2 millimeters, so not that big of a deal. Anyway, it just comes out with 2 screws, and then I tried to make all of the wires, or at least most of them, disconnectable. So that just comes out right there, and it's color-coded as well. You can see yellow to black for positive 12 volts and ground, and that just comes right out. And then the next thing you're going to want to take out here is going to be the power switch. And the power switch just switches the 12 volt line, because you can see they're both yellow. So it just switches the 12 volt line, which goes all the way to the back to the DC input right there. Wire just runs along the side. And then from there, once you've gotten those disconnected, you're good to start taking off the mid shell. So that just comes apart with a few more screws. Let's take a look at the chat here. Great work on the designs for the V2. My self-taught in CAD. Okay, technically speaking, I took a single CAD class in high school, but it was with what was it with? I think it was with Autodesk's AutoCAD. So it wasn't really even 3D modeling. We were just practicing like 2D technical drawing. Like the class started out with us doing CAD drawing. I mean, it's not CAD because it's not on a computer, but it was literally on paper. we had a pencil and paper and some straight edges and rulers, and we had to like make technical drawings, like the 3 views of it on paper. Super old school way of doing it. So that was half the class, and the other half was just doing 2D drawings in AutoCAD. So technically I have some experience, but as far as 3D modeling goes, I'm 100% self-taught. I kind of got my first 3D printer, and I printed all the stupid little knickknacks, you know, like Buddha with Batman's head and all the stupid shit like that. I printed all that from Thingiverse, and then I kind of got to the point where I was like, well, I don't really want to print anything else. And then I started just being like, well, you know, I could totally use a bracket for this thing to hang it on the wall, and I could totally use this adapter, and I could print like a shift knob to replace mine, and I just wanted all that custom stuff, and it got to the point where I was like, well, I could just make these really basic shapes in Fusion 360, and you know, the more you do it, the more you learn. And I don't know, I think I've probably been doing it for like 2 years now. It takes a ton of time, though, and a ton of trial and error. And I know that there's a ton of things I'm doing wrong in Fusion 360. That's one reason I don't want to stream doing Fusion 360, because I know that I'm screwing stuff up and I'm not doing CAD the way I'm supposed to be doing it. I just have my own, like, bastard way of 3D modeling. But it gets the job done. Like anyone that's experienced in 3D modeling and CAD, that's in the chat right now, I will tell you that I have no idea how constraints work, and I do not use them in any of my things ever. Like if the program automatically makes a constraint for me, I'm just like, nah, I'm deleting that. I don't know how that works. Which is a terrible thing to do. But you know, until I get a formal education, that's how it's gonna be. Anyway, let's see. I have a modded Switch and working on a PS2 now. Hope to have a modded version of every console in a few years. Dude, that's how I am at this point. I've gotten my whole entire console collection, and then as the years go on, I try and just keep tabs on what's like freshly moddable and what's got cool new exploits and stuff. Like the DSi is actually a huge one. Actually, hold on, I might have one right over here. Maybe. No, not really accessible. But I've got a DSi that I had held on to for the longest time, and for the longest time there was nothing you could do with it. There was like a bizarre Sudoku game, if I remember correctly, that you could you'd have to download from the eShop or whatever, and then you could mod a DSi, but there still wasn't much you could do with it, and so I was like, all right, whatever. And then I checked back on it like 5 years later, and there's all kinds of stuff you can do on a DSi now. You don't even need a flash card to play DS games, so stuff like that is super cool. A modded PS2 is actually one I've never tackled, but I'm not even kidding. I got a PS2, a fat one with the disk drive and the hard drive slot and everything, like 20 feet behind me. Just it's literally on the dock, like ready. It's just another weekend project. I've really wanted to mod a PS2, but haven't had the time. Too busy doing all this stuff. Let's see. Losing fidelity. We had fidelity. Yeah, you guys have fidelity? Yeah, no. I gotta get a better setup for this in the future. That isn't a phone. What CAD do you use himself? Taught Fusion 360? Yeah, Fusion 360. 3D modeling is becoming a little more easier. The machine does 90% of the work. Dude, that is true. Because there's even part of Fusion 360 now where you can have it automate. I'm sure you've probably seen. But you could make like one shape and then have like another shape. And then you could just click on both the surfaces and be like, okay, fill in the rest. It'll just fill it in for you. I haven't gotten the chance to use that very much, but it seems like a cool feature. Fat PS2s didn't need a mod, they could disk swap. Oh, really? I had no idea. I don't know anything about PS2s, man. I was always way more interested in the PS3 modding growing up. Modding the last console in my collection, the original Xbox. Yeah, dude, the original Xbox, that was one of my first. Doing it with Splinter Cell and then unlocking the hard drive while the Xbox is running, and you got it all taken apart, and then you got to take the hard drive and then plug it into an IDE PC while it was running, and holy crap, that was a shit show. I'm probably going to try and do that again soon because I'd love to make a slim Xbox. That seems like another console where you could take the DVD drive out and then some other stuff that's just super unnecessary. And oh, like the power supply is inside of the Xbox. You could totally make it external. I think it could get slimmed down quite a bit. So the Xbox is definitely a candidate on my mini list. Oh, the model's 5 mm long. Time to redo the whole sketch. Yep, that's literally just how it is. I know there's better ways to do what I'm doing. I just so set in my ways at this point, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, there should be PS2 content. If anything, I might just post a video of me going through the motions of trying to figure out how I'm going to be modding it. Because, dude, I'm 100% noob with it. So I'm sure it'll be entertaining for people that know what they're doing. Make a PS2 all-in-one slim with a screen and everything. That would be cool. I had a friend back in the day that made something he called the Wii S2, which was really dumb. And we just took an LCD screen and a Wii motherboard and shoved it in the shell of a PS2. I cannot remember for the life of me why we made this, but I don't know. We just did. Wait until I discover surfacing. I don't know what that means. And I know you don't know, or I know that you know that I don't know what that means. But I will discover it someday, and I will probably find it very cool. Slim Xbox would be dope. That's the hope. Oh, Crystal OG Xbox. They are rare and expensive. I would kill to get my hands on one of those. Oh my god, the Mountain Dew Xbox, though? Dude. I would absolutely kill to get the Mountain Dew Xbox. A Wii U Mini? Um, I don't know about a Wii U Mini. I've never really looked inside of a Wii U, so I'm not sure how much it could get slimmed down, but probably a good bit. Someone's done an OG Slim Xbox, but have they done it in a fully custom 3D printed case? No, I did not think so. I have seen those actually, though, where they just kind of cut like an inch out of the middle. And I thought those were really cool. Those are some inspirations I had for doing one. Xbox inside of a PS2 Slim? Good God, if only. Launch model signed Xbox is my dream. Wow, I didn't even know that one was a thing. I'd have to look at that. Sounds pretty sick. Anyway, let's continue with the disassembly here. So I think it was 4 screws to get the mid shell off. And another one of my goals when I was designing this one is that I wanted the entire thing to be super disassemblable. There's almost no like glued in things. I think the only thing that's glued in is the SD card reader to a mounting plate, which is still very removable. And then the DC power jack has a little 3D printed block here. Those are glued together, but it's not really that big of a deal. Anyway, I can lift out the entire mid shell now. You kind of got to go from the back, and then you got to take the power supply, kind of slip it through, and that is it. The entire power switch and mid plate comes right out as one whole unit, and that would make shell swaps really easy to change the color on this thing. It's super quick to do. Let's see. Wii Mini doesn't have GameCube ports. That is true. The Wii Mini is really weird. Screw it, go the other way. Make the largest console. Oh my god, combine every console into one case. Oh, I've seen the oh, who made it? Was it Origin PC? I want to say. I might be wrong, but Unbox Therapy did I've done a couple of videos on those every few years. It's got like a PS5 and an Xbox Series X and a Switch and a PC all in one. Those are badass. But I'll give you guys another little. I'll leak one more piece of information about upcoming videos. So this trimmed motherboard that I haven't really made much progress on, to be honest with you, it's kind of sat like this for a while. This trimmed motherboard is not for a Mini V3, it's not for a GameCube Mini, it's not for a Wii Mini, not for a Wii Portable, not for any of that stuff. And it is for another project that is not even along those lines. It is not going to be a Mini or a Portable. It's kind of a joke project, and it's going to be much larger than a Wii. It's not going to be like a Wii XL or anything. I wouldn't trim the board if that was the case. But it's going to be very dumb and very much larger than the original Wii. And I'm excited to get that one done. This is just the first time I've ever trimmed a Wii motherboard, so I'm trying to be really careful with it. Taking my time and doing research and all that. So that's going to be a cool project. Let's see. Surfacing is 3D modeling with organic curves and such. The shell of the PS5 can basically be drawn with surfacing. Oh, okay. I've always kind of wondered the best way to do that. Because all of the stuff that I design is very, very right angles, geometric, flat surfaces. I'd love to get into something like that to make the shells a little more interesting. Because I was actually thinking about that the other day. I was like, damn, every single shell I'm going to make is just going to kind of be, like curved edges and then top and bottom. And I'd love to make something a little more interesting looking in the future. The Wii U would have been really hard. It's pretty full and slim already. Yeah, you could cut out the DVD drive, I'm sure, but probably not much more than that. And I don't think there's that many people board trimming the Wii U either, so good luck on that one. Let's see. Take an OG Xbox and put it in the Wii U shell and make the tablet the wireless screen. Damn, that would actually be cool. That would be a lot of work. Man, every time I hold a Wii U gamepad, it just makes me think, like, this really was just a Switch prototype. It really was. It just feels like the Fisher-Price version of the Switch. A Wii inside a bike, and then you pedal it to power it. Alright, I'm down. Hello, Taucon, or Tucon, however you pronounce that. Sorry. What's going on? Thank you for the kind words. Uh-oh. Did we lose video? Nope, we're good. Never mind. Oh, ironing. Yes, I tried ironing. I've done ironing plenty of times. I've tried ironing on this front shell, and it got like some of it. You can see the streaks. It ironed some of it, but then the rest of it just missed. So that turned out really bad, in my opinion. But I have ironed in the past on other things. I've got one printer that sucks really bad, and that's what I printed out this shell with. And then I've got another printer that does a way better job. And I do ironing on that printer, and it looks fantastic. I just didn't want to risk it with this copper shell because I didn't want to screw it up. Old friend of yours took a GameCube and fit it inside a Video Now XP with an LCD screen. Clamshell GCSP. I've seen some of those. Some of those GCSP consoles. Those are cool. Trimming Wii U would be difficult. The NAND and SMC are near the front USB. Oh man, that is like the final nail in the coffin for fairly easy trimming jobs. If you've got to move the NAND and all that kind of stuff, yeah, screw that. Nope. Nope, not interested. I will probably never screw the Wii U. I can almost guarantee it. Funny enough, you found this because you were going to go back and watch the Wii video I started watching on my lunch. Well, now you got this. There you go. This content's even better. Anyway, let's get to a little more disassembly here. So here is the wire harness that takes 12-volt power from the AC adapter, and it's just the two plugs, one to the power switch, and then one to the power supply itself to start regulating all the voltages. I guess power supply is maybe not the right word for this board. It's more of a power regulator than anything else. Sort of a power supply. Anyway, the next thing we're going to take off is the SD card. And the SD card has a super cool mechanism on it. Let me try and show you guys. So there's 4 mounting points on the motherboard. 1, 2, one under here, 3, and 4. And the one under here is why we had to make it do this. And I showed this off in the video as well. But this just slides out, and it's on a rail. See, there's another like 45-degree angle cut here, and then a matching one in a slot there. So this is able to just slide in and out. Actually pretty sick. So yeah, that just slides out, and that's actually permanently attached to the board because it was getting pretty crowded in here with this connector here already in the power board. So that is permanently wired in there. But anyway, so that is out. So now we can use an Allen key here to get the mounting screws. And again, sorry for the resolution, my guys. Working with what we got here until I get a better camera and a way to do this properly, because like I was saying earlier, my workbench is very, very, very far away from my PC and also my source of an Ethernet connection. So we doing this on Wi-Fi, boys. Okay, and the other motherboard mounting screws are on the back, so actually we'll just take a break from putting the from taking the motherboard out. In the meantime, we can get the controller ports out, and that just has 2 screws. One there, and then adjacent one on the other side. And these are all in the threaded inserts as well, the little brass threaded inserts that I was showing off in the video. Got those working really well. And this just has 2 connectors, one for ground and one for everything else. And the controller ports come right off. And then, wow, there's really not much left here. So, go ahead and turn it around. Look at that design on the bottom. I didn't show that off on the video. But I used a really, really strange algorithm for the slicer, for the initial layer. I don't remember what it was, but it made this really, really weird pattern. I think it looks kind of cool. Anyway, let me get these final 2 motherboard mounting screws loosened. So these probably aren't going to come out all the way because they're on nuts on the other side, but this is just going to loosen it so that I can just spin the nuts off. Okay, so we will turn it back around. And then there's just nuts on the other side here that I can just spin off super tiny M2 screws and nuts. Put these over here. I would hate to lose these nuts. Okay. Spin this one off. Yeah, these things are so easy to lose. They're tiny, tiny. But they're the only screws I had that would fit through these left side mounting holes on the GameCube. For whatever reason, the right side holes are big enough for M3 screws, but the left is not. Very weird. And with that, we can remove the entire base plate. There's the base plate right there. Same exact cool copper shine to it. I love this filament. Super awesome. I was I've had this filament for so long. I was just waiting for a reason to use it, and this is a hell of a reason. You can see all the threaded inserts. There's actually a ton of them. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 just on here. I think there was a couple more on something else. It might have been the top plate, maybe. No, maybe not. Maybe that's all of them. Anyway, let's take a look at some chat here. Maybe we can do a project like the table Nintendo 64. I haven't seen that, but I can infer that that is a N64 built into a freaking table, which is cool. I've always wanted to do a table PC. Wanted to get a Wii Boy, but I'm too afraid to trim a Wii board. Man, I don't recommend trimming a Wii board. It has been awful the entire time. There's lots of SMD components too that you got to take into account, and there's so many different revisions of the Wii board. This is why I mean, people in the comments, man, they're always just like, oh, just use a Wii board. You can get it so much smaller. And I'm like, so much smaller? I guess. And like, you can trim off these ports as well. You don't need these ports here. I just kept them for not needing to relocate them. I just don't want to relocate them later. And for the project I'm going to be doing next, they're totally fine where they are. It doesn't need to be that small. But like, this board is not that much smaller when it's trimmed. I could probably get closer. I think technically you can chop off here as well. But that still saves you like maybe a centimeter, 2 centimeters. With what you gotta go through, man. Like, I had to relocate this stupid little thing. This stupid SMD component. That thing is like 2 millimeters across. And I had to wire it to some like 0.5 millimeter size via on the back of the board. Nothing I had to do on the GameCube was that hard. Nothing. Let me show you something else. All right, this stream is now my Wii motherboard complaining session. And now look at this. This is the Bluetooth chip, I believe, off of a Wii. There's no way the camera's going to focus for this. No, not at all. But there are some stupidly tiny traces in there that I had to solder to, like 0.5 millimeter across. No. Wii trimming is bad. It sucks. I don't like doing it. That's why I use GameCube boards. Anyway. How's the rail mounted to the PCB? Just hot glue. Yeah, it's just hot glue in there. And if you look at the 3D model that I have on printables for this, you can see that on the other side of this printed part, there's a bunch of valleys and curves and sharp angles for the glue to kind of hook into so it stays. But yeah, it's just glued. I couldn't really find a better way to do this because there's only one extraordinarily tiny hole right there on this whole PCB. So I really had no idea a better way to mount this. So that was one of the other things with hot glue in it, unfortunately. Nice cable management. Thank you. It was very last minute. It kind of just worked out in my favor. Is it possible to trim a Wii U? Yes, but not much. Although I haven't looked into it, so I could be wrong. Try OBS. Yes, I've used OBS. I've actually got a whole setup for it because I used to do a lot of game streaming, which you can check out on the Bringus Studios live channel if you would like. Those are all VODs over there. And that's where my Half Mario 2 videos were created on stream. Those videos are super underrated. You guys should go watch those, the Half Mario 2 videos that are on the channel. I think those are hilarious, but I also made it, so might be biased. But yeah, I might figure out a solution for that. It would just suck if something starts going wrong. I got to run all the way to the other side of the house for the PC. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I got a laptop as well I can use to stream, so we'll see. Um, I used the face print for the face of it. Had me cackling. Very good. How many pins do those controllers have? Using a hub would save a lot of room. Do the controllers have? I think you may be referring to this right here. These controllers. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And look at all those wires. Those are actually really neatly done. Wow, I wish this camera would focus on literally anything. Very nice. Yeah, quite a lot of wires going in there. Oh, okay, OBS has a control server. You're probably like, oh no, just read the next message, read the next message. Okay, so maybe I could run the client application on my laptop and then the server in my computer room. Yeah, maybe I can do that. I did it like the iPhone screen minus the seal. Waterproof slimmed cube. The people saying a Wii board have never actually trimmed the Wii board. Dude, that is true. Everybody that is recommending it, they probably saw like 1 or 2 dudes on YouTube that are incredibly skilled, and it's like their 10th board that they've trimmed doing it. And they're like, oh yeah, just trim the Wii board. It's no big deal. No, dude, it is a big deal. Sora6645. Hey, Bring Studios, how are you doing? I am big chillin', I will say. I went out and got some froyo before I started doing this, but I didn't eat it. I just got the froyo and then brought it home and put it in the freezer because I didn't have a lot of time before the stream. So after the stream, I'm gonna have some froyo and I'll be doing even better. Wiring the video is actually painful. Yeah, that's why I'm guessing you mean on the Wii board. That's why I kept the AV jack on my board. Just found you. You're awesome. Or, oh, just found. Holy crap. Ugh. Let me restart that. Hey, just found you. Awesome that I can catch some new stuff. Yeah, thanks for being here for the stream. I've been wanting to do this stream for a while. Finally got some time to do it. If you have a resin 3D printer, you could, in theory, print your own custom channel mountings. That's true. That is very true. I'd love to do stuff with a resin printer. I just don't have the space right now. I don't really want to use one until I've got a well-ventilated space, like a garage. I'll get one eventually. I just don't want to deal with the fumes and all that. I'm sure I could find a way to do it safely, but I got a lizard, I got a couple cats, and my girlfriend and and I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's worth the hazard. The flex tape is perfect for everything. That is true. That is true. Now, if only they made reusable flex tape. Phone explains the bitrate. Yeah, guy. We phone gang. Nice quality, says the troll. Quite a fitting username, I will say. I want to attempt it with a Wii board. I mean, I got 5 Wiis a month ago for $1 each at the thrift store. Oh, yeah. If you know where to look, you can get Wiis for pennies. That's why I'm not too afraid of trimming a Wii. I posted a short a while ago of me being haunted by tons of Wiis. So, yeah, I also have a ton of Wiis. if I screw this one up, I'll have a second chance. But to be honest with you, if I screw up the trimming on this Wii board, it's off camera. It's over there. If I screw up the trimming on that board and it doesn't work anymore, that might be it. That's why I haven't posted much of an update for that project, because if it doesn't work, I probably won't be doing it again. I will just move on. I'll just move on to like the original Xbox or something and just call it a day. Never worked on electronics before, and I'm making a keyboard from scratch using 2 Arduino Nano V3s. Any tips? That is super sick, actually. That's a really good use for an Arduino. Man, it's hard to give you any tips because the Arduino is right where you want to start. When it comes to either electronics or programming, that's where I tell everybody to start. Start with an Arduino, something you can actually put your hands on and attach motors and sensors and all that to. Great way to learn electronics and a great way to learn programming. As far as tips, I guess I could give you some like soldering tips. And by soldering tips, I mean use a very, very fine one. That was an incredible segue. that makes your life so much easier when you're soldering tiny stuff. Those giant soldering tips that are like this size, yeah, that's meant for like speakers, like car speakers and stuff. You don't want to use big soldering irons. Use plenty of flux. Everyone on the internet will shit on you and tell you, oh, you're using too much flux. There's so much flux on that board. Well, you can tell them to kiss off because flux is non-conductive, and the more you use, the easier it is. I mean, ideally clean it up just so it looks cleaner, but do not be afraid to layer on the flux, man. I got an entire jar of flux right here. Isn't this nasty? And every time I need, you'll see me use it later when I do a Picoboot install, but no, man, just slather that crap on there. Use some good solder. Actually, I don't know. I don't know if that's good advice because I'm using Radio Shack solder from like the 80s. So I don't know. Solder kind of lasts forever. But just take your time. Be careful. Desoldering wicks sucks. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Let's see. Do you want to hardwire the switches or are you going to use hot swap sockets? You might have to clarify. Oh, I'm referring to the ink drop comment. Oh, sorry. I thought you were responding to me. PS2 Slims are usually cheap as the Wii's at thrift stores. Grabbed a few of those for $1 to $2 as well. Yeah, you can find PS2 Slims, even fats sometimes. I'm even starting to see Xbox 360s at Slim stores, or Slim, at thrift stores, but they kind of charge quite a bit. They're still asking like 25, $30 for them, which is kind of nuts to me. How are you, says Steven. Once again, big chillin'. Thanks for asking. Got a big old tote of solder that my grandpa gave me. Honestly, I think that's where everybody gets their solder, to be honest, because that's where my solder came from as well. I've had the same spool of solder that I've used for actually a decade that I got from my grandpa. Okay, let's continue here. There's really not much left here. And I'm sorry if there were those of you that thought there was going to be more to it, because there's kind of not. It's really simple. But, you know, that's also the beauty of it. Like, it's so freaking simple. It's just, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6 including the board. There's really like 6 main components to it. Everything else is just 3D printed stuff or wire. A lot of the time is the trimming. Like, I had to trim this off of that Wii board. And the soldering, holy crap, the soldering takes forever. The research takes forever. And a lot of this stuff is on old forum posts that just don't exist anymore. They'll just 404 the second you try and click the link. And that's really tough to deal with too. A lot of it's been preserved on BitBuilt, but I'm probably going to start saving a lot of this stuff locally. Some of the diagrams and posts and all that, just in case servers go down, you know. Won't have the info anymore. But anyway, we got a little bit more we can take apart. I probably won't though, just because it doesn't really matter. Anyway, there's the rail like I was showing you guys for the SD card slot, and that just mounts into the old holes that the GameCube GameCube memory card slot used to take up. There's 2 mounting holes, really convenient access there. And then I'm doing that the same right here for the Pico. And the Pico is just on a tiny little 3D printed adapter board right there. So that's all there is to it. And then the Pico is just soldered to wires right underneath the heatsink. And that is all there is to it, my guys. It's not much. I didn't trim the motherboard at all. All I did was desolder some of the connectors, like for the Game Boy player and serial port 2 and all that. But that is it. That's the whole thing. It seems super simple. A lot of the time and effort that goes into this is just coming up with all of it, you know. These CAD things don't just generate themselves. I gotta measure and print and reprint and reprint and reprint and reprint. Oh, and reprint. Yeah, a lot of printing. That is why I leave some of these. That's why I leave some parts maybe not perfect. Because like I was showing on the video, like the top shell, like there's that irritating line right there. I mean, to a lot of people, it's like, oh, it's just lazy. You could have reprinted it. But it's like when this is the 3rd top and they take an hour each minimum, and if I'm doing like 0.2 layer height, it's going to be like almost 2 hours. Yeah, I'm sorry, man, but a line is not going to make me reprint that again. Nope, not doing it. All right, before I put this together, let's look at a couple more chat messages. Now I can mod an Xbox 360 with RGH3, and there's no need for a mod chip. Wait, there's no need for a mod chip on an Xbox 360? You can like soft mod them? I'm gonna want to know more about that. That's really interesting, actually. I have a developer Xbox 360, which is cool. It's got the whole like DVD drive emulation thing on the top with a USB connection. It's pretty cool. Hello there, says GoLand. What's going on, dude? I'm glitching. Yeah, not surprised. Pico clones online. Maybe someone can make a trim version for the GameCube mod. Oh, I found one that was really cool today. It was the oh, I gotta Google it. Hold on. It's called the Beetle RP2040, and it is an extremely tiny version of the Raspberry Pi Pico microcontroller. Super tiny. And I wanted to try and use one, but it doesn't have all of the pins mapped to the pins that you need for Picoboot because you need GP 6 and 7, and the Beetle RP2040 doesn't have them. But someone could totally make a PCB for it. It's open source, so I feel that so much remodeling and reprinting. I'm on version 13 for a box that has to have the exact same shape, top and bottom. Yeah, man, so much reprinting. I can burn through rolls of filament like none other. When I first started printing, a roll of filament would last me a couple months, but nowadays, oh man, with stuff that's like pretty big like this, roll of filament would be gone in less than a week. Easy. That's why I'm hoping to snag a filament sponsor in the future. I think that would be great. It's not soft modding 360. Oh, damn. Didn't get that lucky, I guess. Using the Xbox 360 South Bridge to glitch the Xbox 360. I remember hearing about it back in the day, the reset glitch. I just don't know much about it because back then you needed a mod chip. Or you might still need it, I'm not sure. But you needed a mod chip to kind of initiate it. Or you had to be on like a weird dashboard version or something. I don't know. I never really got that I never really got that into it. I kind of vicariously modded Xbox 360s through YouTube videos. So never got into it myself. I just got my developer Xbox 360 and called it a day. Wave at me, please. Hello. Back then it used to be a mod chip. Now it's using some part of the South Bridge as the mod chip. That's insane. That's crazy. Actually, all right. That is super duper ultra interesting, but I actually cannot afford to give any more brain time to it because I'm immediately going to start Googling it and I'm going to get off track. But you bet your ass I'm looking into that. That is cool. Man, using the hardware already on it, it's like the Thanos quote. I used the Xbox to mod the Xbox. Okay, let's not put the wrong screws in the wrong places here. But yeah, we'll start putting this back together here. And then we will break open some of the unmodded GameCubes. And then do some Picoboot installs. They're both DOL001 models, so that's going to be the easier of the two. You can do it on 101 models as well. It's just a little more complicated. And I'll show you guys a little bit of my soldering process. Put all the screws back in here. Do these M2 nuts, which I really, really, really hate putting back on. And I really would like to not have a cable come loose. Sorry, I'm sure the view is fantastic for you guys. Okay, there we go. It's the first one. Oh! Let's try again. Okay. Man, it's getting hot. I gotta open a window. Said it was only supposed to be 68 degrees out today. Fahrenheit. Everyone in the UK thinks I'm literally on in a volcano right now. I hate these M2 nuts. No, don't go under the board. Just fat fingering it the entire time. Okay. Alright. Now I can tighten those down. Get a Ooh, I don't even know if I made it bigger. Oh well. All right, chat. What's going on in chat? Wow, that Xbox mod was discovered in November. That's actually sick. Man, I can't wait to look that up. That's super cool. Man, the original Xbox has got a place in my heart. I will tell you. I love the original Xbox. It's one of the first consoles I modded. The Wii was my first console that I ever modded. Man, I was like 10 years old and I modded the Wii. I couldn't even... Dude, I was like a super gifted little kid, I swear to God. I can't even imagine any 10-year-old I know now. Like, God, am I still 10 years old? I'm voice cracking like I am. Jesus Christ. I was saying I can't even imagine any 10-year-old now, like, modding a Wii. Or, I guess the equivalent would be like a Switch. I couldn't even fathom that. They're all too busy, Among Usly playing Fortnite. That one was for you, Austin. To mod it, you only need some cables, a resistor, and a Raspberry Pi Pico to read the NAND. Oh, so you do still have to put a chip in it. Okay. Well, I got a whole bunch of, where are they? I got a whole bunch of Picos on deck, so maybe I'll look into that. Yeah, I love the original Xbox, man. That is one of my favorite consoles. I've got a modded one with a 320 gig IDE hard drive in it. I know you can put like SSDs and stuff in there, but like when you're running IDE and you have to, your lowest common denominator is IDE anyway, because you have to adapt it. There's no reason to go anything faster than an IDE hard drive, honestly. Actually, I don't know, maybe a SATA hard drive would be faster, but there's no way a SATA hard drive would be slower than a SATA SSD when you have to adapt it down to IDE. So I think having a 3.5-inch hard drive in there is no big deal. Plenty good for what I want to install on it. 320 gigs is still way more than I even need. I've probably only got like 30 games on there. It was the main way I played emulators for a while there too, before I had a decent PC. But that was years ago. All right, so that is installed, and I'm probably gonna bungle something up because I'm talking while working, and I always screw stuff up when I do that. But I guess we'll find out later. But yeah, the whole thing reassembles very, very nice and easy. Put that back in. Put this one back in. Tighten those down, and I don't really want to tighten anything too much. I would hate to crack part of the shell. All right, and I think that brings us to get the wiring harness in place. Okay, that will go back there. And then we'll put the mid shell on. Perfect. Cool. Alright. Oops, it looks like one of the wires got caught. There we go. Down you go. Alright. And now it's just a game of getting all the stuff screwed back in, I suppose. So we'll get the, we'll use this one. Get this screwed. Whoa. I'll take a look at chat here in just a second, y'all. Get the power plug put back together. And I think some of my next videos are going to be a lot more chill. And by chill, I mean like they're not going to be crazy feat of engineering like this one. And it sucks because I'm really hoping the general subscriber base doesn't expect me to come out with banger after banger after banger like this. I mean, there'll be more stuff like super awesome, crazy projects like this in the future, of course, but I also just want to post some, a little more mild stuff or other dumb projects that aren't really impressive. They're just fun. But I think it'll be fine. What was next? I don't even know what I'm doing on my own thing. Let's just get the rest of the shell screwed in, I guess. So, put in one of these right down here. Really need a electronic screwdriver. I just don't want to over torque stuff. I've got one, it's just got crazy torque. Okay. And then there's another one back here. Let's take a look at chat here right after this screw. Okay, let's see what you guys are up to. You only use it once to read the NAND and to patch it, and then you remove it. Oh, wow, you don't even leave the Pico in there? That's insane. Oh my god, I'm actually so excited to look that up. I can't believe I haven't heard of that. What filament did I use for the 3D print? It was a copper silk PLA. Crap, what was the brand? Hold on, give me 10 seconds. I'm gonna go see what the brand on that was. All right, this just in. It was a no brand Amazon PLA that I got as a gift. So I don't know. Have you taken it apart only to show us what you have made or what? Yeah, that was just all this was going to be. I mean, we're going to do some Picoboot installs later on some unmodified GameCubes, but this one, I'd gotten some comments from people on the video saying that they wish that I went and kind of pointed out how everything is in depth. And I just didn't think that the video was almost 30 minutes long, so I didn't really want to include much of that. So that's all I'm doing here is just kind of showing off what went into it and how everything mounts up and all that. But then later on, we're going to be doing some Picoboot installs. Some games like Star Fox Adventures, Crazy Taxi, Zelda Collector's Master Quest isn't compatible with virtual memory card. How can you fix that? Oh, I actually didn't know that that is that those are not compatible with the virtual memory card. The way we fix that is wait for someone to update Swiss. Unfortunately, I actually didn't know that. I don't play any of those games, so I had no idea. So I guess that's another limitation of the V2. The V1 wouldn't have that problem because it still uses real memory cards. Yeah, I was not aware of that. Let's put the long screw in right there. I was thinking of showing off some of the CAD stuff and models for this, but there's not really much to see. You're better off just downloading the models and then taking them a look yourself. Okay, I think there's a couple more screws to put in here. Whoa, let's not lose them. So there's one here. I should pick up the Linus Tech Tips screwdriver. I really want to, but $70 is kind of steep. Kind of a novelty too, because I prefer fixed shaft screwdrivers. Okay, so that is it for the screws. Cool. So now let's go ahead and get the harness wired back up. Ooh, this one is always tricky because it's kind of stiff. Put that in there. Okay. And then the other one, we'll go to the power board, so we'll mount that up. Just like that. A couple of self-tappers for this guy. Sweet. And it goes. It kind of looks like it's sitting a little taller than normal. I hope I won't have to address that. I might have to take it apart and see what's going on. Oh, no. It was just kind of stuck on something. It's good now. Okay. And the last thing is just the fan and the lid. Found the easiest way to put this on. Oh, yeah, I guess I didn't show off the duct very much. The duct was super cool. I had to print it in 2 parts just because I wanted the lid. I wanted the top of the lid to be the top of the 3D print because that's how it would come out the nicest. I don't have a glass bed. A lot of people were suggesting a glass bed to get a nice finish. My printer doesn't have one. So this is the best finish I was going to get, is doing it like this. But then if I printed it like this, there wouldn't be a way to print this without massive amounts of support on the bottom. And I just didn't want to do that. So then I just put these crappy lines in here. They are just raised like a millimeter from the rest of it, and so these are technically just bridge pieces, but the surface is rougher, so glue sticks to it, and I just hot glued it in place. Same with this. This is all bridged over, but that's just to clear these big old components here. Dom goes to sleep. Good night, Dom. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Arctic Tiger. You ever get that feeling when the homebrewing process is more fun than actually playing the games? Oh man, dude, that one hits home. I know what you're talking about. All of my buddies, they'll think that my modded 3DS or modded Wii or whatever is cool, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'd love to mod yours. Yeah, give it to me. Leave it to me for an afternoon. Yeah, I would love to mod it. You know, the modding process to me is way more fun. And that's like a weird thing I've had to come to accept, is that I've spent way more time designing and building this than I ever will playing the game on it. And that's just the reality of it. This is, you know, this is the passion right here. Video games are super cool and nostalgic and awesome to me. That's why I'm even like a retro game fan to begin with. It's all the stuff I played as a kid, you know. But at the end of the day, my like more overarching passion is creating and modifying and doing stuff like this and like soft modding and all that. Oh yeah, it's way more fun to me. Going through and modding a whole Wii from top to bottom is probably a lot more fun than playing a Wii game to me. It's just the way I am. It's actually kind of been hard for me to accept because I haven't been able to play video games and enjoy them as much as I used to as a kid, and you know, it's just part of growing up, I guess. The Linus one is good, but that's maybe just me because I don't like mine to have a fixed shaft. If his ratcheting mechanism is as good as people say it is, then it might sway me. I'd have to try one because every other ratcheting screwdriver I've ever had was crap, but his sounds like it's pretty good from what I've heard from people. So I don't know. I'd love to try it. It's an honor to talk with the legend. Hey, it's an honor to talk with some fans. I'm really glad I was able to stream today. Yeah, thanks for being in the chat, man. Have a good night. All right, let's finish this up. And we can tell the Mini V2 to have a good night and move on to something else. So this is a little tricky to put in because you got to put this in. It's Toshiba looking ass fan. Oh, I forgot to trim this wire. This is like the PWM wire. Didn't end up using it. Oh well, who cares? And so this long wire, the flat wire here, actually fits underneath the part that covers up the rest of the heatsink. Kind of a cool dual purpose there. So that's going to go in on the back. I should probably plug the fan in first. This is also directional. I just kind of colored that side black so you can tell which one is ground. And then I'm going to just kind of set that in there. Probably about where I need to go. And then slot the ribbon cable into there. Cool. And this should all kind of fall into place. The fan should fall into place, ideally. And it's not doing it, because we do not live in the ideal world. So, that's cool. Now I gotta try and put that on there, while still keeping it plugged in. Oh, you know what I didn't plug in? Oops. I did not plug in the main power to the power board. I'm glad I noticed that. I would have been tweaking out when I tried to use this later. Oh, that's what the power board was stuck on. Okay. Ashlyn is here. Does she get a hi? Yes. Yes, she does. Welcome to the channel. Not welcome to the channel. Welcome to the stream. You've been here for a fat minute. Alright. Okay, that's all plugged in. We'll route this under there, I guess. And then you gotta kind of route this in a way that it won't... Actually, no, I don't want to do that. Never mind. So you want to kind of route these along the inside of the components. Oh, you can't see shit because I'm blocking it. Okay. Now, yeah, the lid is the most finagly part. Okay, so the fan is connected on there. Slot the ribbon cable through the holder. And then kind of set it all in one go. Awesome. It is on. We'll put the screws on, and that'll be it for the deep dive into the V2. Then we will check out some Pico Boot installs. Take a look at chat here. Do I know how to build a PS2 portable at all? Nope. The only thing I know about a PS2 is putting a disc in, plugging in a controller, and pressing the power button. I've never modded one, never taken one apart, don't know nothing about it. But hopefully that will change in the future. Also, something else that I always found funny is that there was also a lot of people on the video for this one and the last one and the V1. They were saying that, you know, it's a shame that there's no digital out on the first one. And they wanted to see one with digital out. So that's why it was also a goal of mine to use a DOL001 board so you can get digital out. But I think it was kind of funny because I know it matters to a lot of people, but to me, dude, S-Video, good enough. My TV's not even that good anyway, so S-Video is good enough for me, but just because I knew people wanted to see it, I was like, alright, fine, get the digital port. But I can guarantee you, will never plug anything into this literally ever. It's just, you know, it just had to be there. Had to be there. So, anyway, that's it for the V2. Let me take a swig of my seltzer here. Just regular seltzer, non-alcoholic, of course. This stuff is great. I got hooked on LaCroix, and then I found out about Polar. Oh, Polar's the best. Alright, let's take a look at chat here. When I first tried to mod my Xbox, I made mine smoke because I messed with the power supply. I had no idea what I was doing. Yeah, when I opened my Xbox 2, my original one, I didn't realize that the power supply was exposed. And I was just messing around in it, you know, whatever. Kind of unplugged the hard drive while I'm doing it because I was doing the swap with all that stuff, you know, 2 hard drives connected and all that. And I accidentally nicked the power supply with, like, my pinky or whatever. And my whole entire arm, all the way up my arm, just started tingling. And I'm like, holy crap, what is going on? And then I removed my hand, and I was like, oh, that's the power supply. It was kind of spooky. I was like, am I going to be, like, healthy after this? Yeah, that was a big oof moment. So I know what AC, 120 volts AC up my arm feels like, which was cool. Love to see a PS2 Mini. Perhaps. My focus on the next mini console will more than likely be on an original Xbox. But don't expect a video on that anytime soon. I haven't even sourced an Xbox that I'm going to use for it yet. It's still just a thought in the back of my mind. Anyway, let me grab one of these GameCubes here. Okay, so here's the first one. Let me zoom out. Alright, here's the first one. It's a very, very faded indigo boy. It's not just the camera. This one is seriously faded. You can see the color difference. from the inside to the shell. Oh, and it doesn't like to close either. There we go. OG Xbox is nice. I'm one of the few freaks who loves the Duke. Oh man, join the club, dude. That controller is god. I think I have 4 of them. I'm pretty sure. So that way I can force anyone who wants to play my Xbox, even in a 4-player game. Everyone's got to use the Duke. You ride with me, you Duke with me. Oh, wait. Oh, okay. Anyway, let's get this GameCube open. Yeah, it is turbo faded. And this is just a job I'm doing for a buddy of mine locally. He saw that I was doing Picoboot GameCubes, and he's like, hey, I got 2. Mind doing 2 of them? And I'm like, well, you buy the parts, I'll put in the chip. And I think there's like a tiny dead spider. That's what I'm looking at here. I think, yeah, there's no way in hell you guys are going to see this, but there's like a tiny dead spider on the end of this bit. Wait, is it dead? Is it alive? No, it's very dead. Okay, well, you can tell this GameCube has been in storage. Jesus. But yeah, I want to go with the OG Xbox for the next Mini because, you know, I'm a little biased. I love that console. One of my all-time favorites. And I think with no disk drive, you could make it quite smaller. And I was looking at something called the OG X360, I think it was called. It might be called something else. But it lets you use Xbox 360 controllers wirelessly with the original Xbox. And I thought that would have been a super cool thing to do. But the boards for them are really expensive. So I don't really think I'm going to quite have the budget for it. And I don't think the creator that made it is like selling it anymore or something like that. I don't know. That's what I heard. So that would be cool to integrate, but I don't know if it's going to happen. Anyway. Oh, this is pretty dusty. Ugh. Normally I'd blow these out outside with my air blower, but shoot. It's pretty freaking dusty. I'll just give it a quick blow. That's what she said. Ugh. Yeah, this one's filthy. Alright. Okay, so if you've never taken apart one of these things, it is super simple. Another reason why I like using GameCube boards, taking this whole thing apart is so easy. It's the 4 screws you just saw me take out. Here's the front. Comes off with 1 cable. I need somewhere to put all of this crap. On the ground next to me, that'll do. So that comes out, and then you got a series of screws along the side here. And then I'm going to need a spot to put all of these. I don't want to get them mixed up with the rest of my screws. So I'll grab a little bin here. Oh, and just and I lost the screw. That's fine. Here's a replacement. You know it's OG when it's got the dead spiders. Dude, isn't that true? Inside of a GameCube, spiders be like, it's free real estate. Hey man, at least it's not roaches. I don't really have to deal with roaches where I'm at. The only ones I've ever seen are at a zoo, funny enough. But, yeah, no, miss me with that shit. Oh yeah, I can see the spider's handiwork in here. Okay, I think there's a little bit more I gotta do here. So yeah, then you can take the whole fan and power switch assembly. Where are you from? Country, not that specific. Definitely, you can tell by my very eccentric accent that I live in the USA. Pacific Northwest. I will say that. Actually, I've said more on stream. Washington State. There you go. That's what I'll give you. Just because I think this state is sick. I think it's cool. The price to live here, very not cool at all. But it's the price you gotta pay for the, you know, the environment, I guess. You know, we got the Puget Sound, which is super cool. Right next to the water. If you live on Western Washington, there's water all over the place. All the trees everywhere, the varied landscape. Oh, I love it. I am very much a fan of this state. It is just extraordinarily expensive to live here. It sucks. Also, Seattle kind of sucks. Not gonna lie. If you've never been, don't bother. Unless there's like an event or an expo that you want to go to in Seattle. Yeah, no, don't really bother. It kind of sucks. It was better. It was better like a decade ago when I was younger. I don't know. Maybe I just have. What's the opposite of rose-colored glasses? Like shit-colored glasses? That's what I've got right now. I don't know. I remember it being better. I'm not that familiar with accents since I'm from Germany, but sounds really nice. Yep. I think Germany's cool. I'd love to visit Germany. I took 1 semester of German in high school, and so I don't know much. I know enough to tell people my name. Ich heiße Bringa Studios. And I might even be screwing that up. But I think Germany's cool. Always wanted to go. The food is what interests me for sure. Love to try some beer from Germany, although I probably wouldn't have the taste for it, to be honest. Yeah, all the food super enticing to me. The meats and bread and all that kind of stuff. Super into that. Never been to Europe. Always wanted to. It's on the bucket list. Traveling's expensive. We'll do it someday. That's the idea. You get a cheap magnet sheet so you don't drop the screws. That's true. I've actually got a magnet dish right here. It's just chock full of other screws right now, and I didn't want to get these screws mixed up with those screws. So I do have the right thing. I'm just not using the right thing. But yeah, you basically just got to take all the screws off. All around the perimeter of it. Whoop. All there is to it. Sounds about right. I'm Dutch, so they're our neighbors, although I live in the UK now. Isn't that wild? I mean, well, it might not be wild to you, but to me, as someone in America, this country is enormous. Most of it is just literally nothing. It's like desert or farmland. And the fact that you could just casually go live in another country, like, that just blows my mind. If I wanted to live in another country, I'd have to change my entire, like, life. I mean, and I guess if you're moving, you know, physically your whole life is changing, but it's like, oh, dude, it's just unfathomably difficult. Even just moving to Canada in the U.S. is a whole ordeal. Most people can't do it. But just casually going, even just visiting another country is not that easy to do. Yeah. I mean, getting into Canada just to visit is really not that hard. It's harder since COVID restrictions and all that, but yeah, that's really the only viable option if I want to go visit another country is Canada. All right. So we got the DVD drive off. Oof. That's nasty. Very, very, dust. Did a little mini face reveal there, I suppose. Although there was a video I had, where I showed my face. And I'll never do it again. No, I'm kidding. There's no reason I don't show my face. It's just because I'm not the main event, I don't think. I think the GameCubes are the main event, so no reason to. Anyway, also, the heatsink is mounted through the motherboard into the case, which sucks. So to get the board out, you actually have to take the heatsink off, which is dumb. Your buddy wants a GameCube Mini? I'm sure he would, but I ain't putting a whole nother one of those together right now. The UK's made it a bit more difficult recently, but yeah, my friends from school live all over the EU. That's unbelievable. That's crazy. A lot of my friends barely even left the state. Can say I don't like the beer and most of the food we eat here is from other countries. That's true. It's true. And I probably have a completely skewed idea of what it's like in Germany and all that. I just think it'd be cool. It's not that I think it's like the best thing ever in some other countries to go like try their stuff. It's not like I think it's just superior. I just want to go and try all kinds of stuff, you know. Like I'd love to go to Japan and try food, try just different everything. I mean, I just want to go. A lot of people want to go to a country and then stay at a resort or whatever. What I think would be super cool is to just live like daily life of like the average person in that country, just to see how crazy different it is. I think that would be super cool to do. And I got a friend that is he gets deployed over to Japan every once in a while for his work. Um, and he gets to just live in a normal like apartment. Sorry, the dust is getting to me. And I just think that's super cool. I'd love to just live daily life in all kinds of different countries. I think that would be super awesome. Oh, right, we gotta take the heatsink off. COVID kind of cringe though, not gonna lie. Yeah, I agree. That shit sucks. 10 out of 10 would rather turn the clock back to like 2019 when everything was chilling. Man, prices for everything was way cheaper back then too. For literally everything. Alright, that screw can just stay. Kind of sad that you need to remove yeah, kind of sad that you got to remove the cooler to get to the board. It's very stupid. Oh crap, that screw went in the shell. Oh well, I will get that later. Okay. There's 6 screws on here. So where is this one? I can't actually see. There we go. Okay. So now let's get all these screws out. I think I got 1. Yeah, I got 1. So there should be 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Uh-oh. There's 1 in the case. Dude, there's so much dust on this thing. There's just dust falling out. I need the screw to fall out, not dust. Great. Now I got the screw stuck in here. Oh, there we go. I didn't even want that screw. I just didn't want it to be in there rattling around. Because I got replacements. Okay, so there's those 4. And then the other screw went to who knows where, so I'll just replace it with a spare I've got. Perks of having taken apart a lot of GameCubes. Got replacement parts for everything. Blow like an NES card. That's true. Okay, so here's where I'm going to use a hot air gun to heat up the heatsink like I was talking about earlier. And it's going to make it so I probably will not have to replace the thermal pads. Even though they're really old, the thermal pads that are on these, you can totally reuse them as long as they don't tear. So I'm going to try and do that. Might get kind of loud for a sec here with this hot air thing. Alright, I'm just using the same one out of my soldering station. So let me make sure it gets up to temp. Okay. So I'm just going to blow it right through the fins, heat it up. Burn some dust while I'm at it, I'm sure. It also makes it really, really hard to handle, though, which sucks. Because it's very hot. Takes a little bit of time, too. Quite a bit of thermal mass. Okay. So... Man, it's barely even hot. Yeah, I'm gonna hit it a little bit longer. Didn't realize how long that takes. Really, really hope I don't have to replace the thermal pads. I've got extras if I do, but it's just a pain. Okay. Alright, let's try again. Okay, yep, that's pretty hot now. So, let's remove... Try not to burn my fingers. Just one corner at a time. I'd like to pry it, but I don't really have a pry tool that isn't metal near me. Alright, well, that's what fingers are for, I suppose. Ah, it's just not working. Alright, let me find something real quick. Okay, I've got this like little chunk of a PCB. I'm just gonna use that. Okay, there we go. And did we do it? Look at that, intact thermal pads. That one, a big one, kind of lifted a little, but it doesn't matter. It'll go back in place. All right, cool. So yeah, we're not gonna have to replace those thermal pads. With the amount of dust, though, that is in here, it might be a good idea for me to clean these the dyes off with alcohol. Anyway. Oh, everything around here is dusty now. Turn on the console for 5 minutes and then remove the heatsink. Yep, that's another good way to do it. Got a new PC and the first thing you did was take it apart? Well, why would you do that? You ruined a perfectly good PC. Nah, just kidding. PCs are made to be taken apart. Prove me wrong. Whoa, that's close. Wow, yeah, there really isn't much fidelity now, is there? Okay. So, what we're going to be soldering to, I've got a diagram in front of me that's showing me all this, but there's going to be one pin up here, and then one pin down here on this MX chip right here, and then we're going to take ground from right here, and then there's two pins here and here that we're going to use as well from the SP2 port. Oh wait, is that the SP2? Yeah, it's the No, the SP2 port's right there. I'm actually not sure what this one is. But we're going to be using it. Okay. Try and think here what the best thing to start doing is. I think we'll do this. We'll set the board aside for now, and I think we'll get the wires prepped. And for wires, I just use shredded IDE cables, actually, for tons of the wiring that I do. Because they're all bundled together nicely, and you can just tear off the number of pins that you need, and then just tear off the length you need, and you're good to go. But for the Pico Boot chip, let's see, it's going to be mounted something like that, like right there. So I probably want the wires to be maybe 3 inches. Yeah. So let's see, how many am I doing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 5 wires. So it's just going to be 1, 2, 5. 5 wires. Yep, and then just peel them off on about 3 inches of length there. So that should get a little bit more. Okay, that should be more than enough. And we'll go ahead and cut these. Okay. Now we got to strip out the wires. Yeah, no, this is actually like a super good use for IDE cables, because I mean, what else are you going to do with IDE cables in 2022? Let's be real. You'll probably be modding the inside of a original Xbox if you're touching an IDE cable at this point, to be honest. I don't know what else I use on the regular that uses IDE. Cool. So we got all those separated. And then we'll peel some of these ones back. And you can get IDE cables for free at any electronic recycler near you for sure, or at least dirt cheap, maybe a couple bucks a cable. That's where I get most of my stuff like this. All right, and so now I've actually got a really, really fancy wire stripper. A lot of them you have to just clamp on there and pull it to get the jacket off. But this one, you can see the mechanism. It clamps onto the wire and then pulls it for you. It's actually super cool. So it just does everything in one quick squeeze. So just like that. Now you can see we've got cable that's ready to solder. Super cool tool. I love this tool. So we'll just do that on every single one of these. Sometimes it rips the entire cable out though, which is not good when that happens. All right. Yeah, no, fantastic tool. I don't really know what it's called. Just search wire stripper on Amazon and get the one that looks like that. I don't know the actual name for them. And when I'm soldering, actually, let me turn on my soldering iron, get it preheated. When I'm soldering, I always twist these cables first, because they're actually made of a bunch of tinier little metal strands. And if the metal strands go off in a bunch of different directions, it makes it way harder to solder. Plus, the chance of it shorting out goes way higher. So I mean, there's not much to grip onto here, but I try and twist them as much as I can. But when you only have this much to work with, there's not much you can do. Those twisted. Man, any of you remember Ben Heck's channel? He still does stuff. But oh man, that's where I learned a lot of the soldering techniques I know today, is watching Ben Heck years ago. Yeah, I think he still has a channel, but the production quality is not as high since I don't think he's with Element 14 anymore. Okay, and so now I'm just dipping the ends of the wire into the flux. So now they all have a little coating of flux on them. You can't really see it, but it's just a paste crap that's on the end of it. We really do live in the future. We have the technology. Got a question. Where did you learn to work with electrical circuits? Like, did you get a degree or was it through a trades program? But curious as I'm finishing high school. This is going to be a bit of a disappointing answer, but I'm just 100% self-taught. I kind of just started doing this stuff with Arduino. I got an Arduino because I wanted to just mess around with it, turn on lights and motors and all that stuff. And the best way that I learn stuff is not to learn every single concept you can possibly learn and then apply it. It's rather like I always start with a goal, and then I'm like, okay, what skills do I need to achieve this goal? Like if I want to make an Arduino RC car, it's like, first I got to get the Arduino. Okay, now I got to learn to program it. But what am I programming? I got to program a motor. Okay, well, let me learn how you attach a motor to an Arduino and then program it. It's like, oh, and now I've learned that there's a motor controller involved. Okay, got to learn how to hook that up. So just take things one bite at a time and just break up projects into smaller bite-sized pieces, I guess. I don't know. It's really, my experience is really non-standard, I'd say, with this kind of stuff. It's just a lot of trial and error. Oh yeah, be prepared to break a lot of shit, I'll tell you that. When you get into it, you can't stop, so you learn along the way. Yep, you learn so much along the way. And just watch a bunch of YouTube videos too. There's plenty of good content out there about people teaching you how to do this stuff. And just make sure you got the right tools. Oh my god, don't use like a Home Depot soldering iron, for God's sake. Get like a proper station and all that. The money that you spend on equipment for stuff like this, I'm not going to say 100% translates to skill, but it makes it a lot easier, I'll tell you that. And do not skip on flux. Oh, come on. Good God, do not skip on flux. I tried to solder for like an entire year with no flux. Just wired a pad, and holy crap. I thought I was just terrible. I was like, yep, soldering's just not for me. Can't do it. But nope. Turns out if you don't use flux, it's like soldering on extreme difficulty, and it just doesn't really work. So use flux. I am absolutely a connoisseur of flux. Big recommender over here. Anyway, so now we're just going to do the other side. And I soldered all of those wires just now in a process called tinning. And tinning is just putting solder on the wires so that they already have a little bit of solder on them, and it makes all those tiny strands I was talking about, it connects all of them into one thing. So now we have like one unit of wire here rather than a bunch of tiny little strands. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, ask me any questions you guys want. Doesn't even have to be related to this. That's kind of what we're doing here. It's just a chill hangout Q&A while I get a little bit of work done, I guess. I just thought it would be interesting for some of y'all to see. I was originally just going to stream the V2 deep dive that we were doing a little bit ago. And then I was just going to do all this off camera. But then I was like, well, this is right up everybody's alley anyway, so might as well just stream this. Oops. Might as well stream this, I say, as I'm doing all of the work I'm doing off camera. I have a terrible time remembering to keep my hands in the camera view. Okay. What are you guys up to today? What other than watching the beautiful bastard on your screen? What are you guys doing? I want to hear. You think this mod could be done as a baby's first hard mod? Oh, for Picoboot? The one curve I would say with Picoboot that's a little more advanced is if you screw up the thermal pads, you got to replace them, and it can be hard to figure out what the right thermal pads to get are, because there's two different sizes. Actually, there might be three. No, I think it's two. It's two, because the RAM and the CPU and GPU have different sizes of thermal pads. So that can be a little annoying. But as far as like the soldering part of it, it's not that bad. Soldering to these points here, use my pointer. Soldering to these points here, pretty easy, but then once you have to solder to the MX chip up here, it's really tiny. I wouldn't go into it without any practice, but as a first hard mod, I'd say it's pretty beginner level, for sure. There's definitely harder ones out there, like for the Switch and stuff. I've never done one of those, but I've done this, and then I don't even know if you can consider it a hard mod, but back in the PSP days on the PSP 1000, you couldn't charge from the mini USB port. You had to charge from the charging jack. But if you ran a 5-volt cable from the mini USB port to the charging jack, you could now charge your PSP with the mini USB jack. So that was one of the very first things I ever did. It was only one wire, so it's hard to consider it like a mod chip, I guess. Just more of a basic mod. That was one of the first things I did, and that was pretty easy. I've just been way more into soft modding. You know, it's a lot more accessible, and it's a lot lower risk, in my opinion. But sometimes, with things like the GameCube, you don't have much of a choice. You have to hard mod. Alright, anyway. So let's dip our freshly peeled and stripped wires here in the flux. Get all that flux on there. God, I love flux. Based flux enjoyer over here. Alright, so we're just going to get a little bit of solder on the iron. Okay. And then just going to put a little bit on there. If you hear the crackling sound, that means you have enough flux, which is good. It's the flux evaporating. Speaking of evaporating, do not inhale the solder smoke. I think that is probably an obvious one, but don't do it. And what a lot of people, myself included, you can just repurpose a PC fan and then just hook it up to power And then you can run this if you have to get your face really close to the smoke, and it'll just extract all the fumes for you. And that's a really good way to not have to deal with the fumes. All right, so we've got our harness done. So now all we got to do is solder to the GameCube and then solder to the Pico. So I was really hoping this camera would suck less and I'd be able to focus. Let me test something here. If I just tap my screen, can I focus on this close up? The answer is no. Okay, that sucks really bad. I was gonna prop this up on something to get it closer, but if it can't focus, then I guess it doesn't really matter. Okay, random question. What does flux actually do? Isn't it just fat around the solder? So, flux is kind of like a bonding agent, I guess. Solder doesn't naturally really want to stick to the solder pads and the wires, because it's like two different kinds of metal, I guess, something like that. But it naturally doesn't. The solder does not want to stick to the wires or the pads, but the solder does want to stick to the flux, sort of, and the flux also acts as like a cleaner. So if you've got oils or whatever from your hands on the wires, it helps negate that. Oh my god, voice cracking out the ass here. It helps negate dirty wires or dirty pads or whatever, and it just helps the liquid solder bond to the metal of the pad. And if you don't use it at all, then the solder has a chance of just sitting on top of the pad or sitting on top of the wire and not actually like fusing with the wire and with the pad. So yeah, you definitely want flux. You probably get a better explanation if you Google it, to be honest. I just know it's the magical solder paste that makes it easy mode. That's what it is to me. So Aaron had to learn the hard way. Yeah. Yeah, I also learned the hard way about flux. I didn't start using it till like a year in. I literally just thought I sucked at soldering. And then I was like, oh, never mind. I'm just doing it wrong. Okay, so I think we're going to solder... No, we'll solder to the GameCube first. Okay. Alright, let me get back in my chair here. Okay. Man, that quality, though. That's pretty good. Okay. It looks like it's the clearest right there. So I'll try and solder right there. Not the ideal place for me to solder from, but it's fine. Okay. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit of flux here on a Q-tip. A Q-tip is way too big for this, but it'll do. I don't really mind getting a little extra residue on it. So I've got a diagram in front of me. That's how I know where to put these, or where the pins are. So I'm going to put one little dab of it there. You just want to coat the pin. See, that's like a little too much. It's hard to see, but get rid of some of that extra. All right, and then there's one pin on the back side that we're using. So, yep, all right, we already got enough on there. And then there's a couple pins. We're going to use the ground pin here. Oh, need a little more. Yeah, this Q-tip really is way too big for this. But, okay, right there for ground. This thing is also super dusty, this board. And the flux is not wanting to stick. Oops, got a little bit of Q-tip particles in there. All right, and then I think there's a couple more. So it's the third, no, it's the second pin over. Okay, and then the fourth pin over. Oh, dude, this is actually too big. This Q-tip is way too big. I'm just gonna use a little portion of a wire here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And like I said earlier, don't be afraid of getting this crap everywhere. Doesn't really matter. It's non-conductive. It makes it so the metal does not oxide. That is true. Yep, I think that's what I was trying to explain but failed. Because there's when the metal is exposed to oxygen in the air and other stuff, it forms like a thin layer between the air and the metal, and that layer is what the solder doesn't want to stick to, and the flux helps negate that. My ear's a bit dirty. Yeah, just pulled this out. Just pulled this out in my ears. Average level of ear dirtiness, I'd say. My father was what he called a tinkerer. He used to say flux is like lube. You can never have too much. That is true. That is absolutely true. And I'm actually saying that's true in a car maintenance context. You can never use too much grease, my guy. All right. So now what I'm going to do is to prep the pads on the GameCube, I'm going to add some extra solder to the pads because the solder that's on here is like 21 years old, 21 in a few days actually, years old, and it's not going to want to bond very well, plus there's dust on top of it, so I'm going to just kind of reflow all the solder here, and I've got an ultra tiny little strand of solder here. You can see how tiny that is, way tinier than the stuff I was using earlier. And all we're going to do, I'm going to stand up for this one because I can't really see. Okay, so we're soldering the third pin over on the top. So let me get rid of some of this flux. Okay. So I'm just going to put just a tiny bit. Yeah, I may have to take it off camera for a sec just to make sure here. Okay. Because my view is not that great. Actually, here, let's just move the camera down. Do this. There we go. Okay. Yep, still looks like crap. Enjoy the 1p quality. Anyway. So there's that. And then we have another one that we're going to do right here. So the second pin over. Let me turn on the fume extractor. Smoke's kind of annoying. Okay. Sometimes the solder won't want to go. Just don't build up a massive ball of solder. Then you might get a short. Alright, so we've added just a tiny bit of solder extra there. It's going to help us later on. And we'll continue to do the same. And so it actually tells me I have to bridge these 2 points together. So I'm going to put on like way more solder than normal. And I'm going to purposely short these together. That's the Picoboot install just needs it. And I'm actually going to use my thicker solder to make that job a little bit easier. So we'll use the thicker solder here. It's got a weird end to it. Okay. And then we're just going to put that in there. Alright, so now those two pins are connected together. Put a fat glob right there. Usually fatter than you want to do, but those have to get connected together, so that's going to do nicely. Let's see. We also worked in a machine shop, and when cutting metals you need lube. Yeah, you got to put like cutting oil when you're drilling into metal and stuff, or else it gets all nasty and the bit can like fuse to the part that you're drilling. It's kind of nuts. Am I using a GoPro? Nope, I'm using my phone. It's a Galaxy S20 Plus, and I would assume it would get better quality than this, but I think it's just the YouTube, I think it's the YouTube Android app that just sucks. I'm going to try and find a better solution eventually, but my PC that I normally stream from is all the way across the house, so yeah, not much I can do. I got to find a better solution. But in the meantime, this is what we got. Alright, so now I'm going to get this pin. Okay. And then this pin. Alright, so there's a good bit more solder on there than there was before now, so it'll make it easier for us to connect the wires. Okay. So this chip, the MX chip here, let me just get rid of some of this flux. Okay, so this MX chip right here, the wires we have to solder to that, they're underneath the heatsink. That's why we have to take the heatsink off. The heatsink covers this part. So I got to make sure I lay the wires down real flat around here so the heatsink can still close. Or the heatsink can be placed down and do not short out. Alright, so I'm going to solder in first wire here. And I've already got it at a right angle, you can kind of see. Right here. And that's just going to make it easier to run the wire later around the MX chip. And this is actually too long of a wire. Or the little tiny bit here is too long. Ooh, let me show you. This little silver bit, the wire itself, is actually more than I need, so I'm going to trim it off. The longer it is, the more there is a chance of accidentally shorting it with another pin. So I'm going to make it a little shorter. Where's the cat, though? They're both sleeping in a room that is not this one. Maybe I'll grab her in a little bit. As long as the mic's good, it's pretty good overall. That's good. Yeah, as long as you guys can hear me, that's the more important part. And the video feed is running at like 5 FPS, but it's not like it needs to be any higher. So, okay, so let's get this wire soldered in to the. Let me double check. Yep, third pin from the left. Sweet, and it's fused. Yeah, a steady hand is very, very important when you're soldering. And it's actually at the point where, like, if I have a coffee before I start soldering, I might just screw myself with the amount of caffeine I've had, and my fingers will be a little too shaky. Like, it's that sensitive. Let me check this out here. Yep, that looks good to me. Cool, so we will continue. And it doesn't matter which wire goes where because I'm the one that's kind of dictating the harness. So, alright, the next wire is going to be the second one from the left on the other side. And once again, this wire is also a little too long. Let me get a smaller pair of cutters, because there's less room to work now that we've got one cable already laid down. Okay. You want to make sure that any trimmed bits don't end up on the motherboard either. You could cause a short. And a short, if anyone doesn't know, is when a piece of metal touches another piece of metal that it's not supposed to, and it makes a electrical connection that's not intended. And it can cause all sorts of problems. Alright, that one is in there. Let me take a look. Yep, looks good to me. Cool. So now we will move over to the other ones. We'll make this middle one here our ground wire. So we'll solder that to the big old blob that we made earlier. Okay, that is on. And then we'll do this one, second one from the left. Whoops, didn't quite get that one. Okay, and then fourth from the left for the last pin. And that one's a little long. I'm just going to bend it a little just to make it functionally a little shorter. Alright. Alright, and it's on. Yeah, that looks like crap on the stream. Wow. It's just like you put the camera through a filter of mud. Very cool. Let's see. Where'd the cat go? Share these videos in the BitBuilt server. Sick! Love BitBuilt. I used to be over on there before it was BitBuilt. I mean, I guess technically it didn't. Mod Retro didn't become BitBuilt, but it functionally became BitBuilt. Mod Retro is where we used to go when we were building all the GameCube portables back in the day. Back then, nobody even had the balls to trim a Wii. They were just, everyone was making GameCube portables. Yeah, BitBuilt Mod Retro, that's the shit. Love those guys. How long have I been tinkering with electrical circuits? For a really long time. I started out, honestly, just getting crap electronics from relatives and friends and stuff. Like, even the stupidest stuff, it was like, oh, you got a TV remote you don't need anymore? Cool, I'll take that off your hands. And I would just take it apart and look at everything and, just learn as much as I possibly could about it. Just how it worked. You just have to have, like, a general curiosity about anything, where it's like, you just grab a circuit board, point to a random component, and just be like, what is that? I need to figure out what that is. So you just Google it, and you're like, oh, that's a capacitor. What does a capacitor do? And then you look it up, and dude, I'm telling you, I've learned everything I know on Google. Google and YouTube. The two best places for knowledge you could possibly hope to look for. If you touch the wrong 2 points, you can rub it all you want. The smoke you see will not turn into a genie. Oh yeah. If you roll the dice on shorting a wire and you roll I don't know if it's 10 or a 0 in this case, but you get to find out what is called the magic smoke. You get the magic smoke, and the magic smoke is something that they put into all electronics to make them work. And when you take the magic smoke out, it doesn't work anymore. So yeah, you don't want to let the magic smoke out. If you see magic smoke, kiss your console goodbye. Let's see. Maybe refocus the camera. I tried to refocus it, but the YouTube app is so bad that it just does nothing. So that's epic. Okay. Alright, anyway, we've got all 5 wires here soldered. So we can call it good for the GameCube soldering portion of this. Now we'll move on to the microcontroller. So I'm gonna kind of just push these all down flat a little bit. And then let me get a paper towel here and clean off the IHSs. Alright, got a little bit of isopropyl alcohol on a paper towel here. What I'm going to do is wipe these down. So the surface of the CPU, this metal surface here, is called the IHS. And it stands for Integrated Heat Spreader. Because the actual CPU, well, this is the GPU that I'm cleaning right now. The CPU is the little one. So what's under these metal things is ultra tiny little chips. And the chip that's under this is usually called the die. And the die is the actual silicon of the CPU. But the big metal piece just spreads the heat. That's why it's called a heat spreader. And you want to clean that off from any dust or whatever before you put the cooler back on. Anyway, speaking of cooler, we will go ahead and stick the heatsink back on now. Try and get it as lined up as possible with the holes. Very, very glad we didn't have to replace the thermal pads on this one. Alright, so that's pretty damn close, so we'll call that good. And you can see that the other wires barely are under the heatsink. If that chip was just like a centimeter closer to me, we wouldn't have had to, but it is what it is. So anyway, we can start reassembly on the heatsink specifically. We can't reassemble the rest of it yet because we still got to wire in the Picoboot chip. Holy crap! I already dropped the screw in the wrong orientation. Let me look at chat. You may want to look into 3D printed stand or something like that. A 3D printed stand for... 3D printed stand for what? If you mean for the Picoboot chip, I actually do have some of those. I know you've seen that R2-D2 that someone made that basically had like 10 consoles in it, and you could make one of those a fifth the size. I actually haven't seen that. Maybe I saw that like years ago. That sounds kind of familiar. Yeah, I was actually thinking about that. I was like, what stupid shit can I put GameCube's into. That's actually like a thought that I've had on my head. On my head? That's a weird way to say that. A thought I've had in my brain. Let's try that one. And there was one guy that I actually was talking to on Reddit, and he had put an entire GameCube into a DVD case. And I'm like, what? How? That dude got it really small. I couldn't believe it. But he said it ran really bad, which makes sense because you're not going to cool very good if you have a GameCube in a DVD case, I would imagine. But it did work. I was very impressed. But I was thinking, I was like, what stupid stuff can I put a GameCube into? I'm not sure. I kind of wanted to put a GameCube into like a PC case, but that's just so overkill. And it's like not that hard to do. All I'd have to do is like 3D print a adapter to mount the motherboard onto like standard ATX holes. And other than that, there wouldn't be much to it. So, kind of not that interesting. Put one in a toaster, maybe. That'd be good. And you put the discs in like where the bread goes. That would be a good one for a Wii because you could use the slot loading DVD drive and you just stick the disc right into the thing, and it just eats it. Use fluoride-free toothpaste as a thermal paste, please. It'd be funny. Oh, you know what I've got, actually? I've got an AM3 motherboard that is just lying around, and I do really want to do a video where I just walk around my kitchen and find the most egregious things I can find to use as thermal paste. Like toothpaste, sure. Honey, why not? Olive oil, hell yeah. Like, you know, just stupid stuff and just seeing what happens. Kind of just going until it breaks, pretty much. I even want to put like a gummy bear on there. Just like see what happens. Oh, stand for the camera. I do have a stand for the camera. It's on a tripod. It's just not. YouTube streaming is just not made to do this. You're supposed to go and stream like outdoors while you're out touching grass and you want to show other people. It's not made for up close camera work like this. What I might do in the future to alleviate the camera issue is that I'll just get like a USB microscope and just use that as my camera. And then maybe have like my phone on one and then the USB microphone on another, and then have them both plugged in, and I could switch between them for a big wide shot with my phone or a close-up shot with a USB microscope. Olive oil. And then one of my friends actually got to thinking, he's like, what if we just looked up some materials that just have like a really good thermal conductivity, and then just mixed it in with like Vaseline or petroleum jelly? Because like, what if we just took like copper powder and mixed it in with like petroleum jelly and then tried to use it as a thermal paste? Like, would it be really good? I don't know. You know, just kind of play around with it. See, like maybe you could make a crazy discovery. Yeah, try everything short of like mercury or something, because I don't really want to die. Okay. Alright, so the heatsink is back in. So now we will do the soldering for the Raspberry Pi. Okay, let's widen the camera out a little. Well, the controls for this are really bad. Okay. So I'll move that back. Get rid of the isopropyl. Stick the fan back. Okay. So we're going to put the board off to the side here. And I'm going to use my helping hands right here. These are really nice if you're soldering onto small circuit boards that are not weighted very much. So then I can just take the Raspberry Pi and just stick it right here. Loosen this. Okay, so we can just take the board, clip it right there. Now, we've got a nice display, very useful for soldering. All right, read some chat. Yay, it's not 144p anymore. I know. I zoom out and everyone rejoices. I'll let you guys decide. Do you want me to keep the camera here for this, or do you want me to zoom in closer like that? I'll leave it up to you guys. I'll start with it out, and we'll see how it looks. Or we'll just see how it goes. Hot glue yours to the table. Hot glue your seat. Oh, use hot glue as a thermal paste. That's literally like a thermal insulator. That is probably one of the worst things you could use. Alright. So once again, we're just going to spread flux on the relevant pins. And according to the chart that I got, we want 3v3. Right there. And we want ground. I'm going to use a closer ground. I'm going to use this ground up here. The one that it wants me to use is all the way down here, but in my testing, I've been able to use either, so I'm going to use the one up here. And then we want GP4 right here, and we want GP5, which is next to it. GP6 and 7. Cool. Alright. It out. Doesn't matter to me. I'm old enough. I can see nothing without my glasses. You're like, doesn't matter to me. Can't see shit either way. Sounds like a Mr. Yeaster video. I've never seen him. Yummy flux. Doesn't it look so good? So good and tasty? Don't you want to just eat it? Ugh. Okay. You know what's really weird? Is I've actually got my phone... sorry. Ugh, my throat had a weird moment. Okay, I've got my phone hooked up to an external display here, so I can kind of monitor what the camera's outputting. I mean, I've also got my laptop, though, seeing the actual video stream. And I can see more on the actual stream than I can see on my camera's... my phone screen's output, which is weird. On my phone screen, I can't see the top of the GameCube shell right here. But on the feed on the laptop, I can see it. That's just very weird. Heard of a temporary way to stick things to a table temporarily. Really good. So you put masking tape sticky side down with super glue on the top, and then more masking tape sticky side up, and put the thing that you want to stick on top. Is that temporary? How easily does that come off? I mean, I guess it's pretty disposable. I guess that works. Alright, I'm going to turn up the fan a little bit. Sorry if that's loud. I don't even know if you guys can hear the cooling fan. Anyway, we are going to grab the solder. I'm going to use the medium-sized solder again here, because these pads are pretty big. And once again, all we're doing here is just getting a little solder onto the pad to start, which will make it easier to put the wires on later. Okay, and we had ground. Ground, yep, okay. So ground is first. And we just want to get a good little pillow-shaped bit of solder on there. Okay, and then 3v3. Okay. And then we had some over here, GP4. GP5? Yeah, GP5. And GP6 and 7, which need to be bridged, it says. So I'm going to put some there, and I'm going to put some there. And then I'll just use the wire itself to bridge those connections. I'll just lay the wire across both pins. And that should be enough to bridge it. Okay, so those are nicely tinned. And going against what I said earlier about you can never have too much flux, there's a crap load of flux on here, so I'm going to grab a new Q-tip and clean it off a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to clean off some of that. There's kind of like a pool of flux on there. Alright, that's good. All the traces look like Amogus. No way. The Lord of Beef Jerky. No way. I was literally going to say that. I was like, if you look at these close enough, dude, look at them. I didn't think I was gonna be able to show you guys close enough for you to tell. Oh, but dude, these are Mogs right here. That's a new term for you guys today. Any Amogus-like looking crewmate looking ass shape, we call those Mogs. There's a absolute shitload of Mogs on this board. Get some good Moog sightings here and there. But yeah, these pins are looking kind of sus. Okay, so now that we've gotten those nice and tinned, I think we will reassemble the rest of the GameCube and then solder it to here, because I don't remember if you I don't remember the best way to do it. So that's the way we're going to do it, because it's the way I feel like doing it. Just use solder to bridge the pins. Yeah, I was going to do that, but then sometimes it just doesn't agree. Every once in a while, it'll just refuse to bridge over. I probably could have done it, but I don't know. More than one way to skin a cat, which is a dumb saying, and I don't like it because I don't want to think of a skinned cat. That sucks. Anyway, let's start putting the shell back together. Holy crap, the camera controls are really bad. Okay. Where did I put my DVD drive? Okay, here it is. So we will put this over top. And the wires just stick out the bottom, just like that. Real clean. Alright. Okay, so yeah. Trying to think of the best way to do this. I don't think we need to put all of the screws in yet, but I want to put in a couple. So the only reason I'm thinking about this is because I've got this little 3D printed stand that the Pico Boot's going to sit in, and I got to remember where this mounts to. Hold on. I gotta bring up the Thingiverse page for this. I forgot where it goes. Thingiverse Pico Boot. Okay, so it goes there. Okay. Okay. I don't know how I'm supposed to do that. I don't know how the wires... Huh. The way they have it in the picture, it's like the wires don't even exist. What the heck? Yeah, I must have missed something. Your boy done did miss the memo. Just finished the video on the GameCube Mini V2. Oh, sweet. Thanks for joining us. Love the old V2. Okay, so yeah, this is supposed to like go in here somehow, but it would block the wires. I'm just trying to figure out how he got away with that. Maybe he didn't feed his wires through this hole. I don't know how else. I don't know where else the wires would come from. You know what's weird is I've done this already once. I've literally used this piece, but it's been so long that I don't remember where it goes. Here's a friction fit stand for the Pico. The mount fixes to the GameCube using the original screw I found in the install location. Remove the original screw, put the bracket back into place, and screw the original screw back in. GC Mini V2 makes me want to build a similar thing, but with only one controller port and the Game Boy player. The most convoluted way to play Game Boy games. I thought about that too. I was like, the dumbest possible way to play a Game Boy Advance. Just use a GameCube board and a Game Boy player and one controller. And then just make a stupidly large Game Boy Advance. I thought that would be funny. I feel like I'm missing something incredibly obvious, but it's just not coming to me right now. Doesn't this have to sit like that? Here I am talking about how I'm a Pico Boot expert, and yet I can't figure out how to put this crap back together. It's like when you want to show something cool to someone, but then it won't do it when you're trying to show it. I swear I'm good at GameCubes, I swear. Okay. So I could have the wires come up like that, but I'm losing quite a bit of length. There's really not much left. And all the wires are on the top, because this thing mounts like this, and all the wires are up here. And I don't think I can mount it upside down, because the micro USB port. That sucks. Yeah, I think you're supposed to have longer wires for this. That sucks really bad. Because I really don't want to redo all those wires. Yeah, because that's supposed to go there. Shoot. That sucks. That is pretty lame. Wow, I really thought I had the right length of wires. Well, this sucks. Hello, old friend Bringus. Here I am. With the GBA player software on the Pico and have it Swiss boot directly to it. Oh my god. So it literally is just a Game Boy. Yeah, this is pain. This is absolutely suffering moment. Let's see, what is the best way to progress? Can I just cheese my way out of this and find a way to get the wires out another way? Because I could get the wires out the side. Yeah, let me try that. You can actually break off this piece right here. It serves no purpose. And I've done that in previous Pico Boot installs. I've just broken this piece off. So let me try and do that and see if I can run the wires a little better that way. All I'm going to do is just take pliers and wiggle it back and forth till it comes off. Oh, it made you start at the beginning. Yeah, no, we're a couple hours in. Just solder more wires onto those wires, says Robert. Oh, yes. Because that always ended up with the cleanest installation. God, I don't want to have to put, like, heat shrink tube on every single one of these. It's going to look so ugly and going to take up so much room. Okay, so if we can put the wires... Let me lengthen this a little more. Oof. Okay. Bend that up. Okay, so if we put the wires through the side here. Okay. Okay, yeah, now we can reach higher. Okay, we can reach quite a bit higher. So, let me put the fan back in place. This must have been how I did it the first time. Because I've used a couple different mounting methods. I did one that was kind of over here at one point, and I just had the wires come out the middle here. But the side ones I've only done one other time. So we put that there. Let's just kind of test fit everything here. So let's screw in one of the screws. Into the 3D print piece. Oh, nope, that's not what I wanted to do. This is not magnetic. That is super epic. Ooh. Oh, but this is? So the Allen key's magnetic, but the screwdriver isn't? Are you serious? I don't have a magnet lying around I could magnetize it with. Well, actually, maybe I do. I should probably magnetize these. Okay. Oh, that barely fits. Okay. Okay, so that's how that will mount up. Oh, BTW system. Okay. I was like, hold on. Who's this guy? You changed your name on me. No clue what's going on. I'm here for emotional support. That's all I ask. Alright, so this should fit right in through here. It's supposed to friction fit. Ah, sick. Cool. So that sits right there. Nice, good, convenient place for it. And it's gonna be close. Oh boy, is it gonna be close. Hold on. I need to like lift this and actually like look at it real quick. Will I be able to reach? Oh my god, it's going to be close. Why did I do this to myself? Here's another cool soldering tip, kids. Always start with more wire than you need. For reasons like this. Alright. If I am incredibly unlucky, I may have to extend a couple wires. But we're gonna hope that's not the case. Yeah, I really screwed myself. On stream, too. Isn't that epic? Okay. So... Actually, I guess I don't need the helping hands here. They're just gonna get in the way. Okay. So... there's no point in hard modding a GameCube if you have a Wii. If you already have a modded Wii, technically no. Other than if you want Game Boy player support. Technically, a Wii will do everything else a GameCube can, yes. It's more of a novelty. But, I don't know. I like it. I like it for the novelty. Okay, so let's put these wires in. We're going to want to solder around the back, which is going to be really difficult. But it's the best hope I got. So, oh, this is kind of bent too. That's no big deal. Okay, so what we're going to do... Oh, I forgot I put one screw in. Man, I really wish I got more clearance on these wires. Okay, so what I'm going to do first here is I'm going to note all of the positions of the wires that I've got here. I gotta get a piece of paper and write this down. Ugh. Okay, so we've got 5 wires here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the first wire on the left side, it went to the back of the MX chip, which is GP4. So we're going to do GP4. Alright, and then the one next to that wire, we ended up using for GP6 and 7. I'm just going to do 6/7. And then the next wire over was ground, I believe. Yep. So I'm just going to do G for ground. And then the next one from there, we put that into GP5. And the last one is 3 volts. Okay. It's like climbing a mountain. Why do it? Because you can. That is true. I have no clue what's going on, but I know you can do this. All right, that works. You're doing your job. Emotional support obtained. Yeah, dude, I would have like already almost been done with this if I just made the wires the right length. Always make the wires longer than you think you need. I even know this, and yet I still was like, I can get away with this length. It's fine. Okay. So now we'll put it back. If I can find a more intelligent way to run the wires, too. There just isn't really a better way to do it. That's all I'm going to get. All right. Inconveniencing myself on stream. Hell yeah. So that's going to mount in there approximately. The fan is going to be under it, but this is fine for now. That screwdriver is not the right screwdriver. A little tighter. Okay. All right. Do you have any tip on making cases for projects without a 3D printer? I'm trying to turn my Switch into a laptop form factor and have the internals but nothing to put them in. You can buy these things called ABS sheets on eBay, and it's literally just like a blank sheet of plastic. And that's what I used on a few projects. But man, 3D printing's the way to go, dude. It changes the game for custom enclosures. It's either that or reuse stuff that already exists. Like find a super old laptop, like from the Windows 98, 95 era. That's going to be really thick so you can fit the internals in it. And maybe try and reuse something like that. If you're lucky, you might be able to even convert the LCD into like a VGA signal and then output to that. That would be really cool. But yeah, start with stuff that already exists or... I don't know. I was never really good at making stuff out of from scratch before I had 3D printing. Oh, you bridge the gap now on the Raspberry Pi because you might not have enough wire. That is a super solid point. And I should probably do that. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. It's a quad trace oscilloscope. All right, you've lost me. Too advanced now. Good to know that the hardware brethren are the same as the software guys, overcomplicating things just because we didn't think enough about it, but now it's too late. Yep, now it's too late. You've made your bed. Now we gotta lie in it. Dude, I really, really want to just redo these wires. Well, I don't want to, but I probably should. Probably should. And I'll probably waste time trying to get it to work anyway. Dude, there's no way. There's no way that these wires are going to reach. Nope. It's just not going to happen. Okay, alright. I'm not going to waste time. I'm not going to waste time trying to make that work. I'm just going to extend the freaking wires. It's going to look so stupid and ugly. Man, I'm so upset. But, like, if I was going to do it the correct way, I'd have to take the heatsink off again, and there's no way I'm doing that. No, I got lucky with those thermal pads. I'm not chancing luck again. Okay. So here's the plan. I'm going to extend the wires using more of this IDE crap. And it's going to look ugly and I'm going to hate it. But it's what we got to do. So I'm not gonna run any more risks here. I'm just gonna grab a length of wire. I'm gonna grab a pretty long length of wire here. And then I will cut off some of that. All right. So I got this super long length of wire, and I'm just going to probably extend every single one of these wires by about 1 inch. So cut that one like that. And then I'll use this one as a template. So we'll match that up. cut it right at the spot. Cool. There's 2. There's 3. Man, talk about software though. I do my fair share of Python, and yeah, it's kind of the same thing. I kind of had like an epiphany at one point, and I was like, programming is just like circuitry virtually, sort of. Like logic and stuff. Anyway, there's 4. And 5. Okay. Well, didn't mean to give everybody a lesson in heat shrink tubing, but I guess I'm going to be doing that as well. Okay, so I got this cool white tube right here, and this is heat shrink tubing, and it's really cool. So you solder your wires, and then you slip this over the wires, cut off a little bit you need, and then you heat gun it, and it just shrinks around the wire. And a lot of people, when they're first getting started on this, they use electrical tape to cover their wire connections. But electrical tape is big and bulky, and it likes to unravel itself after a while, and it can slip down the wire, and it just sucks. Heat shrink is definitely the way to go. And even if you don't have a heat gun, you can literally just use the heat from a lighter on these things, and it'll still just shrink down. So if you want to get into this stuff and you got to do stuff with wires, heat shrink tubing is the way to go. Electrical tape sucks. Hope your stream does well. I'd say it's doing well. I'd say we're having a good time in here. Can you fix PC? Says the troll. Yes, I can fix PC. I could fix any PC you put in front of me. I'm the PC fixing legend over here. Hell yeah. I fix PC for a living, says Sean Shea. We got that in common then. Going to sleep now. I'm a newcomer to this channel, but the streams and content are really worth it to stay, so keep going. I appreciate that, Locks, dude. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching the stuff. Gonna be more of it for sure. I love doing this stuff. Always take stuff like that as a learning experience. Remember, Thomas Edison said on his 1001 failures, they were not failures. He just learned 1001 ways how to not make a light bulb. I think I've heard that quote. That's a really good quote, actually. I was programming 2716 ROM chips for BIOS boot up and microprocessors in the 80s. Holy crap. That's sick. And then the troll, I find fake restoration videos from Asia. Also as impressive. Hairdryer works good for heat shrink. Oh yeah, I haven't even thought about that. I like your stream. Well, I appreciate that, Sean Shea. You use a GQ4X programmer? Oh, that's over my head. I'll let you guys discuss that one. Anyway, heat shrink tubing. I'm just going to cut these little lengths of them. Probably just about 1 centimeter. They don't got to be that long. One for each set of wires. 1, 2, that one was kind of short. 3, that one was also kind of short. Very cool. 4, whoops. 5. All right, so we got all those. And now what we're going to do is use this again and expose the wire. Gotta do it on both sides for every wire. This is why I did not want to do this part, because it is super ultra tedious. But this tool makes it way easier. 1, 2. Come on. 3. 4. 5. Oh, 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 almost 5. 5. Cool. So now we're going to give these guys the old spin treatment. I'm gonna twist these up. I'm only gonna do some of them because some of these ends are just way too short. I'm not too worried about the strands separating. I've dealt with it before, can deal with it again, but I will twist where I can. Okay. Now, wake up the soldering iron. He went to sleep. And we just get a little bit of flux on all these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Solid. All right, what's chat up to? A lot of ways to program ROM chips. Yep, still over my head. Stripper is high class. That's a nice tool. Oh, dude, this thing is the shit, man. Yeah, you should definitely always twist them. The little strands can really screw you over. It's just hard to do when the ends are so tiny, like on these. Okay, but yeah, the longer ends I definitely would want to twist every time. Okay, so now let's go ahead and tin these up. Oop, I'm going to turn on my extraction fan because that smoke is getting everywhere. Okay. So tin, and then we will connect it to one of the wires on the GameCube. And it'll just give us a nice little extension. And normally if you know ahead of time that you want to join two wires together before you tin them, you should twist the two sets of wires together as well. It'll have a much better connection. But once you've already tinned it like I've done, that can actually be like really, really difficult to do, especially at these tiny wire lengths. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to go without it. But we will tin this one. Okay. And then solder that to another wire. Okay. Yeah, we did talk about the magic smoke earlier. Classic. Classic magic smoke. Okay. Alright, well, that looks nicely tinned to me. Oops, I almost connected it to one that I already extended. I was going to have one super long wire. Okay, we'll put this one here. Alright. Yeah, this is just about the cleanest way you can go about extending these wires. Unfortunately. Man, I can't even imagine. You know, one of the first things like this I actually ever did was, it was for the original Xbox. Because if you're not aware, the original Xbox's controller ports are actually just custom-shaped USB ports. And so when you're modding an original Xbox, you have to plug a USB flash drive in for some methods. And you can just take a Xbox controller port and wire a USB port to it, and the console will just see the flash drive as a memory card. And that way you could load a exploited memory card save file onto like Splinter Cell. So that was the first thing that I ever really had to wire for and do wiring stuff like this before I had any soldering skills or even knew what soldering was, to be honest. and I'd join the wires together and then wrap them up in literal, like, tape. Like paper tape. Like arts and crafts in elementary school tape. That's how I would connect my wires. I just didn't know any better. I was like 11 years old. But yeah, that's what I'm saying about trial and error. You just gotta do stuff and then figure it out the hard way sometimes. Okay, so we've got all of our wires extended now, except at the point that we extended everything, there's a little bit of exposed wire. So to deal with that, that is why we cut out the heat shrink tubing. So let me turn off the solder fan. So all we're going to do is slip this right through, right to where the joint is. Turn on my heat gun here. And you might be able to see it on the camera literally shrink. Yep, getting smaller. You want to hit it from all sides. Alright, and now that is stuck on there. It's got like a little bit of this adhesive crap too on the inside of it to make it kind of not slip up and down the wire. So that's pretty useful. Alright, we'll do it to the next one. Oh, come on. It does like to slip up and down before you've heated it, though. There we go. Melting very nicely. Cool. Yeah, if it starts smoking like that, though, you're probably holding it too long. But yeah. Yeah, no, that thing about the Xbox is really interesting. And the, I guess, if you think about it, if the ports on the front are actually just USB ports, then that means the controllers themselves are just USB, right? And that's actually the case. You can cut off the end of a USB cord, like from just like a phone charger even, if it's got all four USB wires. And then you could cut a Xbox controller cable right off the end, or you could just use the breakaway cable, and you could cut that. And all the wires on the inside of like a micro USB cable, and then the wires inside of an Xbox controller cable, the colors will all match up, except for one. There's a yellow wire, but you just don't need it, so you just cut it. And if you connect all four of the USB wires to the four colored Xbox controller wires, and then you plug the Xbox controller into your computer, you'll need a special driver for your computer to know what the heck to do with it. But once you get that installed, you can actually use an original Xbox controller on the PC. And it's super neat to do. You can actually get those cables pre-made on Amazon nowadays, like really cheap. So you don't really have to DIY it anymore. But it was something really fun to do back in the day. I was hoping that would be the case with like GameCube controllers and PS2 controllers too, but nah. It was just Xbox. It makes sense when you think about it, because it was Microsoft's first foray into a gaming console, and what does Microsoft know best? PCs. So they're just like, we connect controllers to PCs with USB, so screw it. Do it on the console too. Okay. Alright, that is it for those. So this looks super dumb and stupid, and I hate it. But, I mean, what are you going to do? They didn't reach, so... Okay. Alright. So our wires are the correct length now. And what I'm going to do to keep these all in one nice little bundle is I'm going to grab some of this stuff. It's called Kapton tape. And it's kind of like electrical tape, but it's a lot thinner. And in my opinion, it sticks to itself a little bit better than electrical tape does. And I'm just going to use a little bit of this to kind of bundle all the cables together. So, we'll get them all... Oh, you know what? Never mind. I will probably still do that, but I will do it later. I don't know the length I'm going to need once they're soldered to the Pico. Okay. Yeah. Yep, so I'll do the Pico first. Okay, so now that I know all that needs to happen, let's actually put all the screws in. So let me grab the DVD drive. Come on. What am I doing? What am I doing? Come on. Why does this feel very wrong? Am I doing this backwards? No. What the heck? Oh, there we go. I was off by a little bit. Okay. We'll still run the wires out the side here. I already made the hole, might as well use it. Okay. Oh, dude! The things are slipping. The, heat shrink tubing. Okay, that mega blows. Alright, well, this is just an absolute fail stream, I guess. Welcome to my cringe compilation featuring myself. I swear I'm better at this. I swear. Okay. Looks like I'm using that Kapton tape earlier than I thought. So we'll just wrap that around all of these. Man, this is such a dumb install. I did the other one so much better. Okay, and that will hopefully hold all that crap together. This is so stupid. I feel so dumb right now. I really should have just redone the wires, man. Whatever. It'll do. It will do. Performance anxiety. Yeah. Pretty much. Time to get out the paper tape. Oh, good God. All right. This should work. Okay. We will put all the screws in now. All right. I don't know if I'm going to do the other Pico Boot on stream, because this is going on way longer than I thought it was going to. We're almost at 3 hours. Oh, shoot. Are you... This is not my day. It went in the case. Grab the one tool that I know is magnetized. There we go. Because this is going so well. So... Alright. Put that one in. Ah, there's so many screws. So many screws. You know, I actually tried helping, she says, the boundary break guy. I tried helping him replace a save battery on his copy of Wario's Woods or something. I don't remember what game it was. And we were not able to successfully do the surgery, sadly. It's just a random idea I had. Now I'm on the other side of the camera trying to fix my stuff. Okay, that one goes in. James is here. OG James himself. Welcome to the stream. It's not like any other stream that you have usually tuned into. I can tell you that much. Heat shrink needs to be done in a 3D dimension format. Start on the end that is away from the solder connection. That would make sense. Yep. Alright, let's finish these screws. And then there's these little guys that go on here. They don't really serve much of a purpose, but we'll put them back on anyway. All right. Getting there. Put the other one in. Right, almost there. Oh, come on. Go through. Why you gotta be like this? All right, perfect. So now this has to go up here. Okay. And then our Pico Boot. Now that we've got the length for sure here, I'm not going to mount it while I solder it. I'm just going to solder them directly. Okay. And I don't... Oh, man. I've once again screwed myself. It's kind of hard to tell which wires are which when they're bundled up here. I'll be able to do it, but kind of annoying. Okay. Now I'm just trying to remember which direction, which orientation I wrote down the stuff in. Why do I do this to myself? Hold on. I can kind of peek through the side of it a little bit. Let's see. Oh man, why do I do this? Okay, here's what we can do. So the way we can figure this out, which orientation, because I don't remember which orientation this diagram goes in. What I'm going to do is take a multimeter, which is a super useful electrical tool. I'm going to send it to, or change it to continuity mode. And then, so what this does is it just yells at you when the connection is established. Like that. And what you can do is you can test to see if something's actually connected. Like, is the metal here connected to, I don't know, the housing of the power button? It is, because they're both ground. So what I'm going to do is take one of these wires, and I'm super dumb because I put ground in the middle. So a ground would be the easiest one to test, but I put it in the middle. So if you flip it either way, it's still going to be in the middle. So that sucks. But I can take the 3-volt line, and I can touch it to a point that I know is 3 volts, which I can get from the controller port. Yeah, and I can figure it out from there. Yeah, color-coded wires do help. That's the one downside of using an IDE cable. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to double-check the pinout for the controller port, this one right here, it's where the controllers plug into. One of these wires is 3 volt, and I'll be able to double check it there. Oh, you know what would be easier? To just plug the GameCube in, and then figure out which one of these wires is putting out 3 volts. Yeah, that would actually be way easier. There's no reason I can't start the GameCube right now, as it is. Even though the mod chip's not installed, it doesn't matter. The wires don't go anywhere. So, as long as they don't touch anything. Yep, I'm not going to bother looking for a pinout online. So, anyway, we're not going to do continuity mode. We're just going to use DC voltage. And what I'm going to do is just plug the darn thing in. Turn it on. Alright, it's on. The fan is spinning. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch the black one to any metal thing to get ground. So I'll just put it right there. And then I'll just touch to these wires. I got to see which one's on the end. So, because the end one's 3 volts. So this one is on the left side. So this should not be 3 volts. Come on. Come on. Oh, that's 3 volts. That sucks. Okay. Well, hold on. Let's check the other side. So that's this side had 3 volts. And I thought this side was going to be 3 volts. So let's flip it. Okay, so that wire right there. Okay, so that's the other side. Power back on. Ooh, make sure they're not touching. Okay. Alright, ground. Do it down there. 3 volts. Alright, they're both 3 volts, of course. Dude, this stream sucks. I'm screwing up left and right, man. Swear to God. Okay. Alright, let's look at chat real quick. I'm willing to bet he doesn't end up with screws that don't have a place to go. I usually do, but probably not in this case. Seems kind of sus. Test power on bus, good though. I 3D printed a part for the screen, but it was way too big for the 2 ST3 models. Got to start from scratch. Sick. Put a deposit on the Steam Deck. Hell yeah. Want to add the Hall Effect thumbstick mod. Yeah, I thought about doing that on mine. If mine craps out, if my thumbsticks on mine crap out, then I will consider doing the Hall Effect mod. Thought about it. Okay, anyway, we shall continue. Yeah, there are quite a bit of modders here. That is true. Okay, so I suck, and I'm going to be forced to undo this. I could probably guess which side I need to be using, but it's not my GameCube. I don't want to screw it up. So I'm just going to redo it. Just do it right. Even if it is a giant pain in the ass. Oh wait, actually I'm not taking the board out, so these screws don't have to come out. Oh wait, no, I do have to take it out. Ah! Because there's a tiny little sheet of metal that is attached to these on the DVD drive. Okay, I'm gonna grab my electric screwdriver for the rest of this. Yeah, this is pain. This is pain and suffering. Suffering incarnate. Welcome to Bringus Studios, where we suffer. It's only uphill from here. Oh, that's fine. And that went right into the shell. Sick. I don't want to strip it. You know, there's actually a difference between some Japanese screws that look like Phillips and actual Phillips screws. Because there's something called JIS, which is probably what these are. And it's like Japanese Industrial Standard or something like that. They look like Phillips, but they're not. And they're actually shaped ever so slightly differently, to the point that Phillips screwdrivers just don't interface really well with JIS screws. It's really weird. You see it on some Japanese stuff. Okay. All right. Let's lift this up again. Okay. So, this pin right here, what is this? This is 3v3. Okay. So 3 volts is on that side. All right. I'm going to mark that right now. Okay. Okay, the red one is 3 volts. And then I'm going to mark the actual end of the wire too. So where does this go? So this goes into this one that's sticking out. Okay. Okay, that is our 3 volt wire. All right. Not doing that shit again. Okay, here we go. I wonder what YouTube's policy is for alcohol on stream, because in the case it's against TOS, I'm not saying I would like to have a drink right now, but you know, when you screw up the Pico Boot install this many times, it would be nice. Big brain idea, could I solder the Pico on right now? There is nothing stopping me from doing that, and that is a god tier idea, so I don't waste time screwing these in again in case it doesn't work. Because we'll solder in the Pico and then immediately go test it. Okay, yeah, good idea. Big brain moment. There's at least one person in this chat with a big brain, and evidently it is not me. Okay. Okay. Let's do this. Yeah, let me go crack open his cider and then clean the IHS with it. Yeah, it's just it's for the electronics, I swear. In the brown paper bag. All right, you guys, I'm going to pour a glass and we're all going to agree that it's apple juice. How does that sound? Okay. So this is going to end up like this? Yeah? No, not like that. Glad I checked. It's going to end up like that. Okay. So we want to solder the wires to the back of it then. Okay. It's kind of backwards, but whatever. Alright, so we're going to go like this. I'm going to move the camera so you guys can see. Alright, wake up the soldering iron. And then, okay, we're going to start with our red wire. I swear to God, where is it? Okay, it's right there. Okay, 3v3, right there. Alright, 3v3. I already lost it because I looked away for a nanosecond. Okay, red one, right there, right there, right there. Not gonna lose it. Hello? Is the soldering iron on? Oh, there we go. Alright, first wire, done. Okay, next one is GP5. So I gotta find the wire that is next to this one in the strand. Which would be this guy. Right here. Yes? Yes. Okay. So GP5. That is going to go on the other side of the board. I think I am actually going to put this in the helping hands. Oh, come on. Okay, put it... what am I clamping onto? Nothing important, it looks like. Okay. Okay. Oh, it's upside down. Wow, I'm a genius. Alright. Okay, so which one was next to 3v3? God damn it, I've lost it. This one. Okay. So here's GP5. Come on. Alright, GP5 is in. The next one, ground. Right here. Yep. Okay, that's ground. Ground. Ground is conveniently right up there. Alright, ground is in. Pins 6 and 7. Okay, this was the one that I had to bridge. So should be the fourth one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Where are you? I'm trying to see. Kind of a crappy view here. Okay, well, why don't I look at the last one so I know which one it's not. Okay, it's not this one, which means it has to be this one. Okay, so 6 and 7. Oh, that's also kind of convenient. So I'm just going to take the wire, lay it over both. There we go. Okay, and then it's connected to 6. Now we'll connect it to 7. Bam. Now it's bridged. Cool. And the last one, therefore, GP4. Which is going to go right here. Let me get that in a little closer. Cool. Damn, boys. That's it. Let me inspect my handiwork here. Looks passable. All right. Why don't we try it? Let's see what's going on in chat here. Soldering looks so much easier when you actually tin the damn iron. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you should very much tin the iron. Don't forget you said you're going to bridge the gap with the wire. Yep, got it. Messed up my one already, and my one and only soldering iron head because I had no idea what I was doing. Yeah, it's easy to screw those up. Luckily, you can get a pack of them on Amazon for pretty cheap. What iron and tips do I use? Oh, like I was just saying, literally like 10 pack of pencil tips on Amazon. Just look at good reviews. I think I burnt my hand every time I've attempted to solder. Yep. Yep. I'm surprised I haven't burned mine already. Okay, so we are at the point with the minimum viable GameCube for Pico booting here. So I will go ahead and hook up the power cable, and let me turn on my TV, and then I got an AV cable down here. Alright guys, this is the big moment. So I don't really want to move my phone to capture a screen here. So you guys are going to get the audio cue. If you hear the GameCube startup sound, actually... Oh wait, never mind, you won't hear it. I was going to say, if you hear the GameCube startup sound, that means it went to the IPL, and I did not do it right. So we don't actually want to hear it. Okay. Here, I'll start a game. That's how you guys will know. But the only way I can do that is if I connect a controller to it, because I took that controller board out earlier. So let me reconnect that. Alright, controller ribbon is reconnected. Let me get a controller. Alright. And then this one, I was going to use an SD to SP2 adapter with, which is just this little adapter. Lets you put a micro SD card onto the bottom expansion slot. So let me do that. This side face inside. Alright, that bastard is plugged in. Alright, got a controller here. Plug it in. I don't like how close this is getting, because that's technically live. So we're going to take this thing and space it out. Okay. Alright. Everything's a go. Let's do this. Oh, gotta turn my TV on. Let's see. Oh God. What are you guys gonna hear? Let's find out. Oh God. Oh God. Woohoo is fucking right. Hell yeah, it works. All right, double dash loads right up. Cool. Awesome. Okay, enough of that. Sick. As janky as it ended up being, that shit works. Look at that. No disc at all. We're playing Mario Kart. This mod is sick. Alright. Have I seen the Bluetooth controller board replacement? Yeah, that thing is super sick. I will probably do that to my personal GameCube. I've got a black one with a Picoboot mod on it. And I'll probably put that one into mine at some point because it's a really badass mod. And you can actually do it with just an ESP32 microcontroller, which would be even better to put it into like a mini build. All right, cool. So we did it correctly. I can now reassemble all the screws without feeling bad. Oh wait, didn't one screw drop into the chassis? Oh god. Okay, hold on. Let me screw these in. I think one screw dropped into the shell earlier. I should probably get that out. Turn off the soldering iron. Clean it off. Okay. Yep, there it is. Glad I checked. So I can put this back. Controller PCB. Nice. I'll show it to you guys on camera, actually, once it's all reassembled. Can't give you guys that big of blue balls. I gotta give you some kind of payoff. Debating whether I should put this stream VOD onto the live stream channel. I probably won't. The Bringus Studios live channel is more for gaming stuff anyway. I've been really wanting to stream another game though. I've done kind of like everything I wanted to do in the Source Engine games category. Streamed a shitload of all that. So I don't know. Maybe I should stay on brand nowadays and stream a GameCube game or a Wii game. It's just kind of hard to do Wii games on Dolphin unless they're like no motion controls at all. I've never played Luigi's Mansion. Maybe I should stream Luigi's Mansion. Oh, and that would coincide with Halloween. Maybe I should do that. I will consider it. As long as people tell me what I'm supposed to be doing. Because I'm really bad at navigating in games. All the OG Bringus Studios subscribers will know that one. I don't know how to pathfind for shit. Play Simpsons Hit and Run. Oh, yo, I should play Simpsons Hit and Run. I've never played it. I don't like playing GameCube games with anything other than a GameCube controller, but the additional accessibility for other players who might prefer it is dope. Yeah, it seriously is. Yeah, I've got enough GameCube controllers to last me a lifetime, so that's not a big deal for me. But just having a wireless controller option in general is very valuable to me. That isn't a Wavebird, because they're getting pricey. That cube looks bald. It is bald. Do it. Luigi's Mansion is one of the best games ever made. Yeah, I really should play it. I tried years and years ago, but I was like a stupid little kid, and I thought that it was going to be like Mario 64. Or, actually, yeah, I guess I would have thought it was like Mario 64, because that's the only one I had played. I didn't play Sunshine. So that's what I expected, and it just wasn't what it was, so I was like, oh, okay, this sucks. But I should definitely revisit it. I'm about to be left with extra screws if I don't figure out where these ones go quick. This one goes here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And there's 3 left. One goes here. Oh, is there one under the... Oh, they're under the fan. take this one off. Oh, wow, great view of nothing but my hand, huh? Okay, we'll take that out. Oh, there we go. That's where the rest of them go. They don't go through this, do they? No. Okay, there's 3 of them there. So, 1, 2, and 3. Sick nasty. Straight bussin'. Okay, so that'll go there. We got 1 screw left, which is good. Other than the shell screws. Okay, so that one there, and then the one that's attached to the Pico here. Sweet. Damn, that's clean. I love how the install puts it right there. Yeah, guess who's using longer wires next time? This guy. Okay. And the top? Oh, no, not the top. Hold on, we're still missing 1 piece. Around the back. We are missing this. That's very dusty. Okay. Wait, what? Oh, upside down. Sweet. And the piece de resistance. There we go. All right. Oh yeah, that's where the SD card adapter goes. And then it neatly gets tucked away under the cover. All right, we are almost there, dudes. 4 more screws. Where did I put them? There's 1. And the rest are right here. 2, 3, 4. Let me read some chat. Sunshine is top tier. Dude, hard disagree. I hate Sunshine. I think it just feels bad. Like Mario 64 feels incredible. Mario Odyssey feels incredible. Super Mario Galaxy feels pretty good. But man, just jumping around, bing bing wahooing all over the place in Sunshine, I don't know, it just hits wrong. Look how capable those hands look, my god. Calm down there, buckaroo. These hands ain't for you. Yet. Alright. I wish Ice Cube was still around. Oh, I thought you were referring to the musical artist Ice Cube for a second. I'm like, damn, did he die? He actually very well could be dead. I wouldn't know. All right. That is it. So, for the payoff, you guys have waited like 2 hours. Let me get the TV back on. Let me show you around Swiss real quick. What's up, grilled potato? You've tuned in right near the end. All right. So let me take the cube, go plug it in real quick. Okay. Dismount the camera here. All right, don't get too excited, but we're about to go mobile. All right. All right, here's the cube. Turn that sucker on. Got our controller. And here's Swiss. So this just automatically boots. It totally skips the entire, what's it called? The GameCube menu. And then you can just pick your game. I already put all these on an SD card earlier. So there it is. And it's even got a memory card emulation too, so you don't even have to have a memory card. It's great. Come on. Well, what's up, Reflection folks? How's it going? There it is. Running off this guy right here. Cool. That's a successful install, my guys. So, I know I said that we were going to be doing 2 of these, but we are... Oh, remount the tripod. All right. We are over 3.5 hours into this. I can see bitrate. What's that? Yeah, I wouldn't know. What is bitrate? Refrigerator reveal. No, you saw my fridge. Please. Please don't look up my fridge. Please don't dox my fridge. I beg you. Okay. Seems like I gained over 600 subs since I started the stream. No way. No way. Okay, my screen right now says 9.56K. Let me go ahead and open a new tab. 9.56 to 9.64. Quick, someone do the math. But I think it's like a bit over 100. Yeah, not quite 600. Unless I'm looking at the wrong thing. 9.63. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, I appreciate y'all being here. Those of you who are here. Those of you who are not here, I don't know how you're possibly hearing my words right now, but I'm impressed. Anyway, yeah, we're just going to do this one today. I'm going to do the rest of it later. I need to eat some food, chill out a little bit, then I'll get that second install done. But thanks for being here, you guys. My bad, 60. Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah, thanks for being here. I appreciate hanging out with you guys. I'm glad I got to answer some questions. You guys gave me some good suggestions, too. I'm totally checking out that Xbox 360 Pico Boot stuff. I guess it wouldn't be Pico Boot. That would just... because Pico Boot's a GameCube thing. Yeah, I'm going to check out that stuff. No idea when the next video is coming out. My brain is kind of scattered right now that I've finished the V2 because I don't have like a consistent project I'm doing. So it might be a while for the next upload, but maybe we'll get back on streaming. I'd love to play Luigi's Mansion probably sometime next month so we can line it up with Halloween. Headed back to a baby's birthday party. Go for it, Austin. R2-D2 game console. I have an R2-D2 game console, but it's the R2-D2 edition Star Wars Xbox 360. Okay. Anyway, appreciate you guys. We're going to end it here. I will see you in the next one.